to read. In the books we fly, find a super story. Answer is super wide. Oh, Lord, Lord. Alright, sorry about that. I had to share. Had to do a bit of share. Oh, wow. Fuck Lindsey Graham, man. I just can't. I will stand with Israel till my dying day. I'm trying to convince, what's up, Argo? I'm trying to convince South Carolina people to go to Israel and lay down their lives. And it's fucking shocking, man. It's really fucking shocking that anybody still thinks this isn't what it is. And it's not Israeli. The big swerve is believing in Israel and believing the Israel. It's Israel. The Israel narrative, that's the big swerve. Because it's nothing to do with Israel. Israel doesn't exist. You know, it's strange. I was on Instagram today, and I was going through just different people's pages. Jake GTV and I Am Blakely, and any number of people that are currently speaking out against Israel, but who will tell you you cannot blame all the Jews. Don't blame the Jews, because there are some nice ones. There are some out there that are nice to my face. And it goes to show you how well the machine is working, and that people think the negative that's associated with Israel, with Judaism, is the genocide, is only the genocide. This is why I'm such a unique voice in this, in suggesting, and demanding and screaming we should protect the Jewish children. Nobody else is talking about this. Why isn't anybody else talking about this? Why isn't anyone else talking about the metzitzia? I mean, people talk about metzitzia to a degree. They sort of like I've heard Dan Blizz and official truther people, ones that are allowed to have the big audiences and make a good living. I've heard some of them mention, but they don't break it down. They don't say, "Hey, look, this is pedophilic." And not just, because people love to hide behind, oh, it's just a small sector. Oh, it's just the ultra-Orthodox Hasidiotics that do it. It's just a small deal. But that in itself, that response, where I go, hey, there's a pedophilic practice going on in that cult. It's a mitzvah. It's a commandment. It's part of their ritual. And it's actually happening a lot more than you think it is. But for you to say, oh, well, it's not happening as much as people think, and that to be your stopping point. Like, wait. So just because you don't think it's happening a lot, then I guess we should just sort of ignore it? Is that the narrative? Is that the belief structure? Is that how that whole thing works? Well, yeah, I mean, only 11 babies have gotten herpes, and only 2 or 3 have died from it. So, because that's how they do it. They hide the truth right out in the open. They hide and say, oh, only 11 babies have gotten herpes. You bring up the Ron Jeremy was a Jew, actually. Funny that you're dumb enough to bring that up. But yeah, another guy who absolutely wouldn't be where he was if he wasn't what he was. Because not only was he disgusting, he had a really gross penis. His penis was all like jagged and like it was rough. It looked mangled. Oh, he can count down to when he comes. Who can't do that? But you see this system that's been, I mean, again, you're tricked into thinking that it's only 11 kids. So, that's the bad part. The bad part is the chance that diseases could be spread through this. And you see everybody sort of whitewash it with that. And the funny thing is you go, wait, you understand that pedophilia is a real problem here. And they go, yeah, that's really bad too. Yeah. But it's not happening as much as you think it is. It's not happening as much as you think it is. It's just a small number. Well, even if that was true, even if it was just a small number, it's an entirety. The entire cult not just defends it, but attacks those who do bring it up. And so that just completely eliminates you from any sort of sympathy or any sort of good guy status. Right? But this isn't talked about. This is simple. This doesn't involve all the the different players and just all of the confusion that comes with the narratives they give us. This is really simple. I think even your average, dumbass, even your average Christian, whatever, just even your average piece of shit, they can see something. They're not going to sit here and go, yeah, that's totally acceptable. The average person understands how disgusting this is. But then they just sort of stop because you're told you're not allowed to say something about it. Oh, I'm complaining about my life. Gee, that's weird. Sounds like I'm complaining about metzitzia. Sounds like I'm complaining about children being abused. But I guess if you partake in that ritual, you probably get mad at someone like me for pointing it out, right? It's atrocious. And instead of ever, you never see it. They come through my page all the time. They're just obsessed with me, probably because I'm the only one that's actually talking about this. But to come on here and again, quit complaining. Who says that? Somebody's going, hey, there's this real big pedophile problem, and it's a much bigger thing than people realize. It's systematic. It's part of this cult. This is a cult that it's everywhere. And you go, stop complaining. Stop it. I don't like what you're saying. I mean, it's amazing. Imagine if everybody did the nothing that I do, right? Imagine if everybody just spoke about this stuff. Do you think it would still exist if everybody just had conversations about it? And then you could identify the pedos by, the ones who come in and tell you to stop talking about it? I mean, literally, I called this douchebag a pedo. He didn't deny it. They don't deny this shit. It really makes you wonder who that is. Who makes pedo jokes? Who makes, who defends pedophilia? Who's a Trump supporter? Things like that. Uma. Get a haircut. Yeah. Oh, how do you like your dude's hair to be cut? Do you like your dudes with short hair there? drunk, dumb fucking drunk. When you're, when you're engaging with a dude, you prefer them to have short hair? Well, look, we have a pedophile priest here today, too. A fucking piece of shit who identifies as a priest. He's not really a priest. It's not a real person, behind that profile. But I do enjoy the fact that people play the character and show you, they play the character well. This is what pedophiles do. This dude acts like a typical priest. He's so angry. Yeah. I'm so angry about children being raped by pedophiles like you. It's what, the fourth or fifth time I've called you a pedophile and you're not denying it. You just keep saying dumb shit. Who isn't angry about child rape? I don't think most of you understand about metzitzia, at least newer people that haven't been here. I think if you've been here before, then you absolutely understand about metzitzia. But I think a lot of people don't really understand what metzitzia is. And I think if they did, they would be, less likely to blindly follow, less likely to give their blind faith. Oh, well, that's part of their culture, so I don't want to say anything. There'll be plenty of people that do that. But there will still be a lot of people that say these things. There's always going to be the people that identify themselves. I mean, I don't know how else you guys see it. By the way, if you're watching, like, share, sub. But these people are identifying themselves. This isn't some hidden labyrinth of conspiracy and blah, blah. No, it's right there. It's really, really obvious. They're really disgusting. And that it's cultural. It's who they are as a cult by the way they defend it. Smelling your plaything, says the pedophile. Look at the pedophile. Of course they're not. They're pedophiles. I don't say this lightly. I don't say this jokingly or, with some sort of exaggeration. Who wakes up and thinking like this? Who wakes up and looks for my feed so they can cry about the things that I talk about? Other than the rabbi character who says that raping children is an act of God. I'm so glad you decided to show up today. Because everybody watching, it's not a real rabbi. Okay, this is just some piece of shit clown. But understand that this is the perspective. The person that identifies as a rabbi is not going to come on here and say raping children is wrong, molesting, violating children is wrong, genocide is wrong. He's not going to say those things. He's going to come through and say a bunch of fucked up shit that most of you would never say. Right on, like, share, sub. Uma, thank you. We must respond in the strongest terms. Yes, we must eliminate them. That's what the strongest terms are. Like, seriously, why shouldn't we eliminate that cult? I know you're like, oh, America, PC, you're not supposed to say these things. What? Why shouldn't we? Why should we continue to accommodate that fucking cult? He's got to numb his mind. Oh, here we go. I'm projecting. Take your meds. Look, we're getting 2 in a row. 2 in a row. Dumb Jew comments. The only thing they know how to do. They're fuck it. Let's not even fuck around with it. We'll go with, we'll give you the complete explanation right away so we don't have to do it again. But this is one of the most important stories right now, and most people don't know about it. DIRECT is a social networking service used by supporters of Israel to oppose online anti-Israel content such as boycott, divestments, and sanctions. Its activities were referred to as, quote, an online propaganda campaign and, quote, a virtual situation room of pro-Israel experts. ACT.io, quote, directed its users, like these people aren't stumbling across my page. Dumb piece of shit pedophile rabbi character isn't just looking through the fucking YouTube one day and happens to stumble across my page. It doesn't work that way. He was assigned this mission. He probably cried. Oh, I don't want to go back there. That guy makes me look like the piece of shit pedo that I am. You want the big points, don't you? You guys don't know what I'm saying, right? Take your meds. Here we go. Take your meds with the pizza slice again. The McKenzie profile, the obvious Jewish pedophile. Because, you know, regular people make pizza jokes. Regular people make pedo jokes. Regular people pretend to be pedos, right? Directed its users to, quote, missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Israel material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Israel. This is the juicy part. Users were guided how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points. So when they say things like, take your meds is a big one. Take your meds is like, it's so big they made a South Park episode about it. You know, getting Cupid Yee to take his medication so he stopped saying things like Kyle controls Hollywood. Even though them controlling Hollywood is not, like, it's not even a hidden thing. You know, in the description of this video after the fact, you'll see a link to Hollywoodism, which was a movie they made in 1998 bragging about how they control Hollywood, right? Bragging. And again, you'll notice that none of them are going to come on here and say things about how great Israel is, how great Judaism is, how they help the world, how they make things better for everyone, how they contribute in any way. All they're going to do is come out here and say, oh, I like pizza. Of course, the rabbi is going to say pizza stuff. And you can't claim ignorance. You know, you don't think it's strange that I'm talking about raping children and these guys start bringing up pizza? I mean, you think that's part of that funny joke, right? And remember, again, when I asked the rabbi character, what about when the Talmud says it's okay to rape little girls as long as they're 3 years and 1 day old? His response was, it's not rape. It's an act of God. That's what the rabbi character said when flat out asked, you know, what should we do? What do you think about this? He said, it's not rape. It's an act of God. The app also provided users with ready-made memes promoting Israel's perspective for them to share. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. Badges are prizes. They unlocked prizes, right? According to 972 plus 972, ACT.io was a centerpiece of a digital campaign called For Israel, announced in 2017 by Gilad Erdan, then the Minister of Strategic Affairs, for the promotion of Israel and the delegitimization of boycott, divestments, and sanctions. Pay attention. The ACT.il app would assign users missions to challenge social media posts it considered to be critical of Israel or in favor of the BDS movement. I mean, this is as evidential as you can possibly get. I don't know how much more evidence I can provide you. If you're waiting for the message from Donald Trump to be like, Guy Williams is right, you're never going to get that. But if you're capable of just seeing what's right in front of you, here it is. Here it is. Erdogan called it the Iron Dome of Truth. Act.io was a joint project of the private Israeli university, IDC Herzliya, and the U.S.-based Israeli-American Council. The Maccabee Task Force, one of Sheldon Adelson's foundations, is a major funder of Act.io. The organization behind Act.io is staffed by former intelligence officers and has a collegial relationship with the Israeli intelligence community. It has a close relationship with Israel's Ministry of Strategic Affairs. This used to be the end paragraph. According to Mendel Weiss, an email was sent to March 22 to the app's users to announce that the app would be shut down, while they did the October 7th false flag where no Israelis were killed or taken hostage. What's up, Snuggie? The app was relaunched in early 2026, about 4 weeks ago, under the name Rise App, with the former Act.il owners partnering with Reichman University for the release and also transferring the former Act.il user base, 40,000 plus, to the new service. How do you boycott Israel? With every fiber of my being. Every fiber of my being. Although, I do think the average Goyim should start eating kosher. I don't think people really understand what kosher means. You've been tricked into the religious idea of it. And that's how, again, they hide right out in the light. They tell you the truth. They just don't give you the details so you don't figure it out. But kosher slaughter, not only is it just brutal and disgusting, they hang the cow upside down by its hooves, and then they slit its throat from ear to ear so it can bleed out. It has to drain all of its blood before they can use it. And you think, the crazy part is what you think is already awful. You know it, but you don't really let yourself understand it. The whole notion of if you've ever worked in a restaurant or some capacity where Jews will rent the facility, rent the hall, rent the kitchen, rent the to have one of their things, whatever, right? Hunting is immoral. Hunting is for guys with little dicks. Somehow hunting makes them feel like their dick is bigger. It's not. But the kosher thing is, from the blessing standpoint, if you work in a kitchen and Jews are coming in they've rented it, right? You have to go through and you have to put gloves on. You have to make sure none of your skin, preferably if you have a hairnet, and you have to go through and disinfect all the goyim off of the surfaces. That's what you're cleaning. Your kitchen is probably, already a clean fucking thing. You clean it every day. At least you should. You clean your kitchen every day, all day long. So your kitchen is already going to be clean. They're not trying, it's not like social cleanliness. It's not like that's what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is wipe all of the goyim off of everything, right? Notice how the White House dinners are all kosher. Absolutely they are. I guarantee the government officials all eat kosher food. And again, it's not because of some sort of blessing aspect of things. The real secret to kosher food is that after the animal is killed, the entire animal is inspected. Its entire body, all of its muscle tissues and all of its intestinal lines and all that stuff. and it's inspected for what they call blemishes, right? Blemishes. And if the animal has any blemishes, they don't use it. They end up giving it to the Goyim, or they just throw it away. But they don't use it. And the blemishes are tumors, are cancers, are shit we probably shouldn't be eating. It is smart. It's super smart. But we eat it. They feed it to the Goyim like it's nothing. You know, if they do a kosher slaughter of a cow and it's found to have tumors, they just give it to the, you know, to their brothers, cousins, whatever in the meat packing industry, who turn it into burger and send it to us. That's what kosher is. It's about protection. You know, you probably shouldn't be eating meat as is. You definitely shouldn't be eating meat as is. We shouldn't be eating meat as is. But when you understand that the meat you eat is just riddled with tumors and, you know, I mean, think about how many times you've been eating something and there's been a hard bit in it and you were like, oh, that's just a piece of cartilage or something that got through. No. It was tumor. It was a tumor. Goyim. Goyim. The Goyim. That's us. Anything that isn't them is considered Goyim. So the stupid Goyim car, the Goyim spoon, or just the Goyim in general. If it's not themish, it's Goyim. And it's all equal. There isn't a hierarchy amongst the Goyim. You know, there are the Goy that obviously support everything they do and all that, and those are favored, but they don't care, you know. Like, there's no difference between the black Goy and the white Goy, and we're all just dumb Goyim, and we're all here for them to use. You know, we're all part of the 2,800 slaves that they all have, metaphorically. And that's what they all believe. They all believe that, you know, 2,800 slaves come to them upon the Messiah's emergence. Then each one of them gets 2,500 slaves. Like, share, and sub. You are correct, Snuggie. But the reality is, these are weak, inbred, you know, disgusting little trolls. There's no way they could physically control 2,800 people. So it's not a literal translation thing. It's metaphorical. It takes 2,800 of us out there. Like, you know, people don't understand just how amazing that is. That right there, see that? You don't think about just how many people, human beings, it takes for you to flip that switch and the light to turn on. Yep, potatoes, another one. Do you really think they're all going to just happen to come up with the same thing? Not one of them is going to say cantaloupe. Not one of them is going to say watermelon. Nothing like that. They're all going to say potato just out of the blue. And of course, not address anything being said, right? Isn't that strange how they don't say anything about what's being said? We're talking about, you know, them killing children, them raping children, the poisoning of the food systems, all this stuff. And you're going to sit here and say, oh, you really had to think twice. We've been misled to treat race as an issue when the real issue was Zionism the entire time. Well, they're not a race. And Zionism is a boogieman. You're allowed to say, I don't support Zionism. But you're supposed to. You're supposed to say Zionism. You're supposed to say Israel. As long as you're not saying Judaism, then that's all that matters. And it's not Zionism. You know, like this is where metzitzia comes into the equation and really, really needs to be driven home. Yes, Zionism is awful. The whole goal of taking over the world, enslaving everybody, all that is horrible, no doubt about it. But that's more selfish, right? That's you know, I don't want them to Zionists to take over and enslave me, is sort of what we're saying, right? But this problem is so much deeper than Zionism. This is them raping their own children. This is them, you know, metzitzia, cutting and sucking their own bloody baby penises. Like this is the fucking craziest shit. Your stream is always lagging. Why do you think that is? You think that's my choice? I'm surrounded by cell phone towers. I'm in suburban Metro Detroit. It's flat. I'm in a giant fucking antenna surround, you know, a house with aluminum siding on it. There should be no fucking interference with my feed whatsoever from a technical standpoint. Imagine being Israel surrounded by all those terrorist countries. All right, that's what it is. So we know where your allegiances lie. You're a fucking piece of shit, aren't you? Right on, Tracy. We should hang out. But look at it, surrounded by all those terrorist countries. Israel's the biggest terrorist. Israel's the one that shouldn't be there. Israel's the one that was, you know, created out of terror, created out of the oppression of another group of people. But like I say, it's you know, Israel is the construct. Israel doesn't actually exist. If Israel exists, it couldn't keep expanding. You know, you exist in a way. You know, things exist. This lighter exists. I can't be like, this lighter is now 10 times its size just because I say so. It's still just a lighter. Israel doesn't actually exist. It's just a fucking construct, right? And this is what I was kind of saying earlier, and I got distracted, but I watched a whole bunch today. And while doing, these people have 10, 15,000, 40,000, hundreds of likes, thousands of comments, hundreds of shares. And you go and you look at their comment section, and it's all positive shit. Bitch. It's all supportive shit. There's none of this. None of this sort of interference comes to any of these people. And it's not because they're just diligently, you know, monitoring the comment section, and anytime something comes up, they erase it. That's stupid. You know, the negative comments are badges. They're something to be proud of. I watched your stream last night, by the way. Love the gas station bit. Don't remember what part that was, but thanks. Yep, I look really productive and successful because you can see everything going on in my life by this. Again, just think about the fucking disgusting piece of shit that does happen to stumble across this feed, isn't just here by assignment, but stumbles across the feed, goes, oh shit, this guy's talking about killing pedos and overthrowing the Jews. Fuck him. Like, who's gonna do that? Who's gonna do that? You want the best bars you can get, go to www.derberg.group.com. It's free to download, free to listen to. All we ask is to share it with someone. Go get all the bars you need. more than you can handle. That's for damn sure. No, I really can't help it. At this point, it's actually, I've become so cynical and I would say mistrusting, but it's not just, it's like, it's knowledgeable. And I think anybody that's actually in this circle would understand. Like if I was to say to I am Blakely, well, are you sure you're not Project Esther or Esther Project? Isn't it strange that you're allowed to have so many fucking views? Isn't it strange that your comment section isn't full of crazy fucking friars pretending to be other shit, bringing up every crazy thing they can think of but what you're saying? Like, I really like I am Blakely. I think she does a good job. She'll be the first to tell you, you can't blame all the Jews because she has some friends that are nice to her face. So what solution do you propose to resolve this issue? I mean, you have to understand, this issue is not a light switch issue. This is an issue that took however long we've existed to get here. And granted, it won't take nearly as long to change it, but there is a transitional period where it might be a little difficult. They're definitely going to fight back. They're definitely going to resist it. And they're going to use every dirty trick they have at their disposal. But one of the biggest pieces of this puzzle is the religious control. Like, you have to accept this idea that, like, I don't even understand, like, how you can think otherwise. But the Jews gave you your Bible, gave you your Christianity, gave you your Islam. That's why everything's called Abrahamic. That's why you all have the same characters, same storyline, it's all the same. Shit's just a little changed up depending on which version you use. But I mean, Islam has all the same people. They're just in different roles. So the solution is unification. Just unification. Once we unify and we all say, okay, hey, we have, like, it's important that we're honest. We have to, like, literally, this revolution isn't just one little thing or another. It's all encompassing. It requires a lot from you on a personal level, right? You're going to have to look into why you think the way you think. And I don't think most people do that. You ask any religious person, why are they their religion? What have you seen, heard, experienced, learned, whatever? What in your own personal existence makes you believe Christianity or the sect of Christianity that you belong to is the correct one and everything else is wrong? We have to start getting people to really, the solution starts with music. Music is one of the most powerful weapons we have. That's why they control it the way they do. They don't want another 60s to happen again. They won't let that happen again. And when you start looking into the Laurel Canyon conspiracy and you understand the whole hippie character was a creation by them because the general population, the intellectual side of things was very much against war at that point. They had survived, either their parent or grandparent being sent off to war, but the aftermath of that person coming home, World War I, World War II. These weren't very far in between in the scheme of things, and there were many people who had grandparents, fathers, all that shit, and they saw how fucked up these guys were, right? And so they they had their little think tank, and Irving was like, hey, we should create this character. I call it a hippie. And they sat there and they figured out, what don't we like? We don't like long hair. We don't like brown skin. We don't want them to indulge in drugs, especially pot, because pot opens up your mind and lets you see things that you might not see otherwise. Especially LSD too. LSD, that funny how LSD movement made everyone feel unified. That was the current, there would be people that had bad trips, or there would be, people that saw Smurfs or some shit. But for the most part, when you're on acid, you realize that everything is connected. We're all unified. We're all one. And it makes a lot of shit seem trivial, superficial, stupid to you, right? And so they lumped all of these negatives into one character. A hippie. And they used the kids, the kids of all their... Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Crosby is from the Crosby family off the Mayflower, apparently. Stills and Nash, both of their dads worked in government mind control. Jim Morrison's dad was the admiral on the ship that was used in the Gulf of Tonkin false flag. Well documented, well-known false flag, the Gulf of Tonkin. Admiral Morrison commanded the ship. That's why Jim would say his parents are dead, to hide the connection. And there are endless examples of these children of, military people supposedly speaking out against the military and the government and all that, and being given these huge lucrative contracts, kinda, potentially, even though it would always cycled all the money back into the Jewish pockets. I couldn't do peyote. Peyote would take too long. I couldn't trip out for days. I'm too old for that shit. In my 20s, maybe, yeah, that might have been something. But nowadays, if I had acid, especially having kids, I'd lose my shit. Yeah, I'm still waiting for one of those flashbacks that I was promised. But the issue was, the children weren't their parents. And the children were separated from their parents. They would go on these large tours, send them all over the world. And it kind of resembles the Siddhartha story, where raised in the palace, surrounded by nothing but wealth and opulence, not even realizing something's going on. But then as soon as you actually go out and you see the world, you're like mortified. Oh my God, what the fuck? Why does the world work like this? And why do we get to live like this, but everybody else suffers? And and that thing happened. A lot of those initial actors and actresses hired to play the role are humans. They're humans. They were smoking pot. They were taking acid. And they started to realize, like, holy shit, this isn't okay. Jimi Hendrix, well, the 27 Club. Think about if Jimi Hendrix wasn't murdered. That man was unifying black and white long before anybody else was. That man was a bridge. That man was happy. That man was a bridge. Or at least a 3/4. But I think he's a happy. Janice. Imagine if Janice wasn't murdered. Leading the charge for women. Bridging that gap. But they kill those people. They killed Kurt. You know, Kurt was against the whole thing from the beginning, supposedly. And it had finally gotten to the point where he could probably start calling shots. And they killed him. 15 hours of sickness in Persia. Let's see. DMT was my eye-opener, second to mushrooms. Never did DMT. Scratch that. Peyote was my strong second eye-opener. I don't need it. So I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. Who cares? One time, I was now. If you follow me and all that stuff, and you especially follow the music, I seem like a guy who, you go back and find little poems and shit from when I was like 5. That's the kind of prolific sort of person I am. But it's not true. One day, I was 18, maybe 17, 18, or 19. I don't remember. Probably 18. And we had gotten some acid. And it was just a weird situation from the beginning. Like the people I took the acid with, I ended up breaking off from and going into a different group right as I started peaking. And if anybody's done acid, they know that's probably not the best idea. But my house was the house where everybody would come over on the weekends. My mom would go to her boyfriend's house. She'd leave on Friday. She'd leave food. She'd leave money. She'd leave alcohol. It's not ideal, but my mom was protecting us. She knew that we'd be out doing the shit regardless, so she at least provided us some safety. And so every weekend, everybody would, come Friday night, once they knew my mom was gone, everybody'd start showing up. And so I get home, and it's so strange again to think, like, outside of pagers, we just sort of did it. We just sort of showed up. We just, how did we ever communicate and make things work without cell phones? It's really weird. And apparently I'm a zennial, a person that was born between 76 and 84 or 85. The people, like, we're this unique people that lived in both the analog world and the new world comfortably. The people before us, like my wife struggles with computer shit way more than I do. But I get to my house, there's a whole group there, we're just starting the party. Now, I've taken, I believe it was 2 double-dipped tabs, or else it was 4 single tabs. But I was fucking stupid, right? I don't know what I was trying to do. Apparently I knew what I was doing. But and when I took acid, I never like hallucinated and saw shit running around or anything. I'd get trails really hard, but I never like had hallucinations where I thought I was talking to an orange or something like that. And so the party is going on. There's probably 10 people there, and they're all regulars for the most part. But this is the night where they brought the Doors movie over, and the Doors was on VHS, of course. And so I'm loving this peek into your past. Okay, cool. So, mind you, I am tripping fucking balls by this point. Like, I have no real comprehension of what's going on. And I had had a couple of bad trips prior to this. And by bad trips, it was just like the thing that used to freak me out the most on acid was how powerful I I would become. And then I know that sounds weird, but like, knowing the phone's gonna ring. One time I was trying, I thought about how can your body move without you actually like thinking, arm, move, leg, move. And as soon as I thought about it, I collapsed and I couldn't move. And my cool aunt had called on the phone. And my buddy who was there was probably freaking out a little bit, wondering like, holy shit, what's going on with him? But he was like, here, talk to your aunt. And I thought she knew. I don't know why he even answered. He was tripping his balls off, whatever. But she handed me the phone, and I remember having to think, like, grab the phone. So I grabbed it, and I'm talking to her, and as soon as I got into the conversation and wasn't thinking, hold on to the phone slipped from my hands. And I was like, I just can't talk to you right now. I hated talking on the phone when I was tripping. I hated electronics when I was tripping. They just freaked me out. And I lived in this apartment building that was one of those buildings that had a center hall. You'd walk in through the front door to the building, and there were 4 apartments on each side, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it was two floors. My apartment was when you walked in from the front door, it was in the back top left corner. And at one point I pulled myself up to my feet. And like if you were to actually look at the building from the top down, you would see like the core structure. It was kind of like a trade center actually, where there was like an inner core and then there was the outer shell attached to it. So like the inner core of the building ran through each of the apartments. It was like a shell, or the core, and then the shell was on top. And I had pulled myself up to my feet, and I remember saying, I just want this to stop. And as I did it, I punched the upper left corner, like where the wall came together, one of these dealios. I punched where the stud was, right on the corner of it. And that was part of that inside shell that went through each apartment. And I hit it so hard. Boom! My hand hurt a little bit afterward. But again, this is the acid part. This is what acid does. I don't know why that had to happen. And shortly after that, we decided to go somewhere. My buddy loved driving when he was all fucked up. It's strange, but doing that knocked out the bad trip. Like I regained my senses and my faculties, and I could sort of handle things from here on. So we go to leave, and we walk down the stairs in the inner part of the apartment, and the guy in the front right bottom floor apartment comes out, and he goes, "Did you guys just hear that loud bang? Shook my whole fucking apartment. What was that?" I don't know. It was me punching that part of the fucking wall. He heard that. Like it's so strange to think about it. But that, again, I'm not like bragging or anything. This was what acid did. This was very uncomfortable and this wasn't pleasant. But that night, we were back to the party. Somebody put the Doors movie on. And I remember just being like the whole rest of the party vanished. And I was right there. The movie was me. I was, I was the camera. And I was watching this movie, and there's the part at the end when the Indian leaves Jim. He's on stage, and the Indian leaves and fades off into the ether. From in my acid head, the Indian came through the movie and got that same spirit, whatever that was, had now infected me. And the movie ends, and obviously Jim dies, so that just kicks me into, holy shit, I'm gonna die. I feel like I'm dying, blah blah blah. Like it was such a dumb fucking thing to one, have me watch, but two, to freak out over. But I was convinced that I was gonna die, so I kick everybody out. You guys gotta go. I'm sorry, you guys just gotta go. And everybody's like, what the fuck? But they're just not. They're like, okay, I guess, whatever. I kick everybody out except my one buddy who was there the other time, and who I ended up moving to California with, actually. And he's really like, dude, are you okay? Like, he's not on acid this time. I'm probably the only one that's on acid, actually, which, again, not a good idea when you're on acid to be around a bunch of people that aren't on acid. But I'm like, yeah, man, I'm fine. You just gotta go. And I finally get him to leave. And I remember the sound being so deafening, loud and deafening, of nothing. If you've ever gone to a large setting where there's a bunch of people there, there's like that sound of all the people, conversations, all the different things that are happening. They create this just murmur that's in the background of everything. And now it's gone. And it's just me in my apartment, tripping fucking balls, scared literally to death. And so this is some telephone stuck to the wall kind of shit stories for all you. We had a phone. It was a cordless phone. It's a nice phone, but it was a cordless phone, and the dock was in the kitchen. And so I went, and like I say, I hated using the phone when I was on acid. I hated it. But I call my mom's boyfriend's house, and it's like, it's only like 11:30. It's not even that late. Maybe it's earlier. I don't know. But I was like, I just wanted to tell you, Mom, I took too much acid. I think I'm dying. I love you, and I'm really, really sorry. And I just wanted you to know that I love you, and I'm sorry. She's like, what? And so I hang up. And because afterward, I call my dad at his house. She probably tried calling back, but the line was busy, and she probably freaked the fuck out. And if like, she was in Brighton, and she had to get to Northo. And like, I know the route that she would have taken. There were plenty of times where she had to drive on a 25-mile-an-hour road, where I'm sure she was just flying. She's terrified, flying. And my dad lived in Troy, and Troy and Birmingham, Troy and Brighton are about the same distance from Northville. So I call my dad, and I tell him the same thing. Look, I'm really, really sorry. I just want to let you know I'm dying, and I love you, and yada, yada, yada. And I hang up with him. And so I would imagine they're both kind of trying to call back, it's canceling each other out. It's making the phone line busy. Not to mention, I start trying to call my grandmother, my grandmother lives like 2 miles away. And she's as square as it gets. And so I'm trying to dial the number, and it's like somebody's poking my finger with an electric pin. Every time I try to touch the buttons, it's like, what the fuck? Something is trying to stop me. And so I think I dial the number, and I'm sitting there, and it doesn't go through. Thankfully, it didn't go through. And I think I tried twice, and it didn't work. And so I eventually give up. And now I would imagine this probably took 5-10 minutes of me trying it, not working, trying it, not working. And so I give up, and by this point I'm barely conscious. Like, everything is just swirling, and it's all liquid and water, and like I'm like, I struggle back into my room, and I go and the lights are off, and like I hated watching TV. You know, I didn't have the wherewithal to put music on, let alone, anything. And I sit on the edge of my bed, and I nesty plunge, arms out, fall backwards into my bed. And it feels like I just fall forever. And suddenly I'm standing in this giant dark space. But in front of me is this giant pyramid. It turns out to be the pyramid that's on the back of the $1 bill. At the time, I'm 18, maybe 19. The internet's not a thing yet. Like, at least not like you could look shit up. The internet is very, very basic in 1998, 1999. And so I'm standing in front of this thing, and the outlines of the pyramid are like an electric blue, like a neon light blue fluorescent color. And I'm just looking at it, and I can see all of these like Bill and Ted style, like electric tubes, I guess you would say, coming in from all directions and going out in all. And it's almost like, the tubes at the bank, the pneumatic tubes at the bank. They're bringing in things and taking things out. And it was huge. And I'm just standing before it. And inside of me, I know that what I'm looking at is what the average dumbass thinks is God. That's the thought that's going through my head. Like, people think God is this, old man and in this biblical bullshit narrative, when the reality is this computer thing that I'm looking at is the real God, so to speak. And again, there's no anthropomorphic aspects. There's no human aspects to it. It's kind of like a Matrix sort of thing. And, I don't know if it was the sound of, because my mom and dad both happened to show up at the house, at the apartment at the same time. And like, my mom and dad were never together. The only times I ever remember my mom and dad being together was on like on like three-way calls where I was getting punished. You know, my mom did not like my dad, and my dad liked my mom, but you know, she had her. I think she had pretty good reason. He never helped, you know, so she didn't like him very much. So I literally don't have any memories of my mom and dad together outside of me being in trouble and then this one time. But I sort of came out of it, and now I'm like I'm just completely drained of all emotion and like any. I'm just like blah. Like I just gone through a pretty significant taxing experience, so I'm just barely like conscious and the guilt, the apology, the apologies, the the gratitude. Thank you for coming to my rescue, but I'm okay. I just freaked out a little bit, but none of that's there. I'm just like, yeah, what's up? And they're like, what the fuck? You know, what's going on? I come out of my room. They're coming through the front door as I'm coming out of my room, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I thought I was done, and my mom is like just furious, and she's, you know, and again, she thought her boy was dying. This wasn't cell phone days where she could drive and on the way there keep calling and try to get a hold of me, or it wasn't like that. She for the last 45 minutes or so, 30 45 minutes, she thought her kid was dying and she was going to come home and find dead kid. So she's just furious. So I'm sitting in the living room and my dad's standing there, and I can just tell, like, he's figured it out. He's like, this is just pointless. There's no sense in talking to him. This was a bad experience, but he's not him right now. So he's just sort of looking at me all disappointed. And my mom's yelling, and I'm sitting there, and suddenly I go, huh? And just vomit just comes up in my mouth, and I'm stuck like this. So I stand up, and instead of like running to the bathroom, I just sort of walk to the bathroom. And just as now, you know, I've told you the apartment was set up. The front door, you'd walk through the front door. There was a closet to the right. No, there was a closet on the left. To the right was the bathroom door. And then almost like right next to that was my bedroom door. The bathroom was like, it had two doors. It had one from the main hallway of the house and then one into my room. You know, it was weird design, but whatever. So I get up, I walk to the bathroom. As I get to the toilet, another heave comes up, and I just go, bah! I couldn't make it. As I'm lifting up the lid, it comes out. And so I'm lifting the lid into it, and it just explodes just everywhere. Everywhere. And I look up at my mom, and I go, huh, guess they don't make cheeks like they used to. Stood up, went from the bathroom into my room, and just like face plunged into my bed, passed out. Puke all over my face, you know, puke all over the bathroom. And that was that. Now, again, this is probably only like 12, 1 o'clock, if it's that. But I pass out, and so I wake up in the morning, and I'm sort of like, you know, trying to sort of piece things together. Why is my face all stuck and gross? Why do I smell so much puke? And then I'm sort of replaying, oh no, what's happening? And I go out, and my mom is sitting there drinking coffee, having a cigarette. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, yeah, go clean the bathroom. So I had to go in there and clean up the puke that had gotten everywhere and set in and dried and stuck. And But that was the time I saw God, and the thing that started me writing. I didn't write before that. I mean, I'd always been a good writer at school and all that shit, but never ever did I write poetry. And I didn't even know like why I did. I didn't like it, you know. I would always write this shit, and people would say things like, "Yeah, you should put this to a beat or something," and I'd be like, "Nah, I don't write rap music." I always thought of it as like a Pink Floyd type of a thing, where you would have this cool kind of spacey whatever, basically what we do now. But it wasn't. That wasn't possible. There wasn't that genre didn't exist. Nobody did anything like that. You know, you don't put hip hop with Pink Floyd, and you know, what are you doing, black and white kid? You know, like shit. Like it was just what it was. And actually, what sort of started it. One day I came home from a night of partying, and we used to like to draw and color, and we would do all kinds of shit when we were high. My little group of friends and I. And we, let's see if I can find it. I had drawn this picture of a man with these crazy kaleidoscope eyes and a tie-dye shirt and a weird shaped head. And he's looking at he's looking at you, and he's crying, and behind him there's a mushroom cloud blowing up and whatever. And it was it was one of the best drawings I had ever made. I wasn't always the best visual artist, but this one actually looked kind of cool. And I was real high one day, and I just thought, I'm going to describe this in poetic form for some reason. And it was nothing like what I write today. They come down upon us in a crushing silence in a plan called democracy, yada, yada. I wish I could find it. I need to find it and see what it says. I need to use it, actually. Well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to use that as an intro to one of our songs. Maybe we can make a song out of it. Why the fuck not? But we used to go to Big Boy every day. And there was a Big Boy at 8 and Haggerty. And for like $3, you could get 2 eggs, bacon, hash browns, toast. You know, and you could smoke at the restaurant. So we would go there we go there like every day. Literally every day. And we'd go in with our, you know, each person would have like $3. And then you'd have like $4 because we'd all chip in and throw the tip in. I think $5. Actually, I think it was 5. I think you'd have to have 5 because, you know, for your $3 meal, you throw it. We'd always throw extra. We tipped well because we knew we were there all the time and we wanted to be treated well. But we would get there and always ask for a kid's menu and some crayons. And we'd go sit down. And everybody would sit there and they'd either draw but everybody knew to just sort of give me a minute, let me write my little piece, and then, you know, I'd partake. But every single time I would write something in red or blue crayon. It would be like a, you know, on the back of a Denny's menu or in a Big Boy menu. So they were rectangle shaped. And I would just write shit all the time. And, you know, it was just weird and different. I have it somewhere. I have a bunch of them written down somewhere. But that was how it all started. And people would always say, again, you should put this to some hip hop or whatever. I was really reluctant to read it to people. I didn't like reading. It's all part of the Jim Morrison thing, right? Turn your back to the audience because you're really insecure kind of thing. I was always proud of what I did. I just felt weird reading it. So if it weren't for acid, I don't know. I might not write at all. It's hard to say. There's no connection there. Definitely. I mean, it was the first day. It was the catalyst. And to think that's how it works that's not how it's supposed to work. So I don't know. I definitely, it's a unique story, that's for sure. Right? But that's how the writing began. All because drugs are bad. Okay. Like, obviously something was unlocked. And it's something special. It's not like it's something anybody can do. And it's not like even like artists and shit. Nobody does it like I do it. Nobody writes as much as I do. Nobody produces as much as I do. Thankfully, I have a producer who's really, really great at what he does. And he can, if our situations were perfect, then we would produce more. We're on track right now for one song a week for this whole year. I don't know if he's gonna meet the deadline this week, but we'll see. But like, I have thousands of I have hundreds at the very least I have hundreds of songs that I have yet to record. And I don't know anybody else like that. I've never met anybody else that does that. Even when I did meet, and if you're dumb enough to think you can do it, I'd love to see what you can do. What did you see in the Doors movie? I don't know. I don't know. It just worked. You know that Jim Morrison and Guy Williams have the same amount of letters? Same number of letters? I don't know. I watch the Doors movie now, and I just think, wow, what an embarrassing, whiny little bitch. I don't like the Jim Morrison that's portrayed. And the interesting thing is, like, in my mind, Val Kilmer is Jim Morrison. When I see the real Jim Morrison, I'm like, he doesn't look right. But it was the Indian leaving Jim and literally watching the Indian leave Jim and come into me. Yeah, that did it. That did it. It was interesting too, just as I sort of started figuring my shit out, the rest of the band died. Like Ray Manzarek died and all these other guys. And I always wanted to know, like, what did you guys, you think Jim would have liked what we do? I think Jim would have liked what we do. Yeah, it was fucking weird. It was definitely weird. And then to see the I don't know, the all-seeing eyes, like I had no idea what it was. It wasn't until many, many years later when I was telling somebody the story. Not many, like 5, 6, 8 years later, I was telling somebody the story. And I got to the part about what I saw. And it was interesting. This broad that I did not like, she was my buddy's wife. My buddy's girl at the time. Baby mama, wife. She was so annoying. Her name was Jackie, and she was awful. I hated Jackie so much. And she was one of these like super fake Christians, She would pretend to be so righteous and Christian, but she was on her second kid out of wedlock with a second guy, and she was just a nasty bitch. She was so mean, and she was fat, and she was, she smoked, and she did this, and she did, like, it's like, you're not a Christian. You're not a good Christian. You can't sit above anyone else. And I think she didn't like that her dude who I wouldn't have ever been surprised that you could get Johnny drunk and some gay might come out, right? Like, he just seemed that way. And he really liked me, so I think she felt threatened by me. But I was telling the story, and she was like, holy shit, I saw that same thing one time. And we sort of had this weird bonding sort of experience, and it was like at that moment, I don't remember how, but maybe there was a dollar bill sitting there, I don't know, but it was like that right there, the dollar bill symbol. Yeah, yeah. And again, this is long before I know anything Illuminati, Freemasons, none of that shit. None of that shit was mainstream. None of that shit was, there weren't like, Nicolas Cage movies and National Treasures and Da Vinci Codes, and none of that shit existed yet. If you talked about Illuminatis, I mean, I had never even heard of the term. I was just out of high school. It was, and there wasn't an internet like there is today. There wasn't a Facebook. There wasn't a way for you to have access to alternative streams of thought, alternative information. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you. Appreciate it, Snug. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, if you're watching, like, share, and sub. I mean, to decide to do something, like if any of this would have been a choice, why wouldn't I have chosen to do rap music? Why wouldn't I have chosen to you don't even have to have a good voice to be a singer. So why didn't I sing? Why did I literally choose to do something that doesn't exist? There is no genre for it. I would have to create my own genre. Who's going to do that? And how? How would I do that in that time? There was no thought of social media. There was no concept of social media. So to think, oh, I'll just start posting my weird shit online and hopefully people dig it, that wasn't a thing. National Treasures documentary. No, it's not. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. They love the fact that people think about Illuminatis and all that shit. It's all just to distract you from Jewish stuff. The whole satanic panic of the 80s, to distract you from Jew stuff. That's all it is. Ted Gunderson, FBI agent Ted Gunderson. I'm not even going to say former. He was just an FBI agent. The moniker of former was put on him to give him credibility. But he was an FBI agent doing what the FBI wanted. And when people started to be like, hey, these Jews are doing some really awful things, it was his job to make everybody turn to, it's Satan. It's the satanic panic, and, believing in stupid nonsense instead of what it really is. You see this, I mean, it's it took me a long time to get to this point. I had to sift through all of the bullshit so you guys don't have to. I suggest you do it. I mean, it helps. But instead of it being this create your own light at the end of the tunnel journey that I've been on, you guys already know where you're trying to get to. The type of thought process you're going at it with. Like, I didn't know it was the Jews. I had no idea. I was raised under the same bullshit umbrellas that you guys were. Knowing that I'm not allowed to talk about this one group of people. And if you do, that's a bad thing. Don't talk about the Jews. Don't talk about the Jews. If you do, you got to say how unfortunate their situation is and how they were so oppressed, and the Holocaust and the 6 million bullshit and the, that's how I was raised. Don't you dare question the Holocaust narrative. If you question the Holocaust narrative, you are a bad person. That's how we were taught to think. That's what we were told to think. We had to think that way. There was no alternative. The only people that ever spoke out against Jews back when I was growing up were like the goofy Farrakhan's, who were portrayed to us as fucking clowns to begin with, and how that man appeals to anybody when he talks. Like, I never understood the Martin Luther King bullshit. I have a dream. Who talks like that? They all sound like fucking creations, like manufactured bullshits. Right? But I, for the longest time, to me, it was obvious that the church is behind it. They have the Vatican. They have their own place, their own country that's outside the scope of anyone else's rules and regulations. And anytime there's pedophile this or that, they just go there and they're protected. All the lobbies and all the control that the church has, changing laws and, writing textbooks and all that shit. That's what I thought growing up. Oh, look, schizo. I am like, this is how inbred stupid they are. They've all been told to say something, and they do. They don't even bother to look into it. To say something that isn't accurate. I'm sure you could come up with something else that might fit the narrative a little bit better. But the idea of me hearing voices and hallucinating and all this other shit, that's just not accurate. And if it was, and I was, and all of this was like hallucination, and you still couldn't come up with anything to debunk what I'm saying, that's pretty embarrassing, don't you think? At least we have more watchers than likes for a change. Normally we're sitting at like 15 likes and 4 viewers. The more likes I get, the less viewers I'm allowed to have. It's pretty strange, but just think about how stupid these friars are. Like, look at this. This guy just comes out of nowhere, can't say anything of merit, but it's just like, who's going to do that? Who's going to do that so fast, it's almost like a computer's doing it? I mean, most of us would have to click the space, click comment, click, open clipboard, or click paste, click send, click it back. Like that takes at least a couple of seconds between each post. Yet for some reason, this magical character joined 12 years ago and has 1 subscriber is firing shit out like a computer. Strange, don't you think? Strange, don't you think? 9 and 9. That's more like it. 9 viewers, 9 likes, 2,500 plus subscribers. That's how shit works. They definitely have programs that do that. Of course they do. They give us this program. People don't understand that. The only reason you have a social media, the only reason you have a YouTube, any of this shit, is because they want us to have it. When I figured out what grok meant, right? What grok means what ara means in Hebrew. And you understand that they just randomly picked a name that happens to be a word used in the Hebrew Bible only twice. This really obscure reference, ara, which means to collect or to gather, to pick fruit. The system where you spill your guts to it, tell it all your secrets, tell it your innermost feelings, ask it all your conspiracy style questions and all that other shit. It's collecting and gathering all those little pieces of fruit. Right? You're part of Messiah. I would be, you being dumb enough, inbred enough to be Mossad, I believe that. 3 minutes away, that's a different story. But dumb enough to believe, like, you're obviously a friar. We get you. We get you. This is another one of those things that sort of requires common sense more than anything. Ask yourself. I've been doing basically the same feed every day for years. Talking about the same things. You know, we bring new pieces in all the time, but it's all basically the same thing. Repeating. Boring. Why is it, knowing that I'm going to say these same things and have been saying these same things and all that, they know my playbook. I've been begging, hey, any of you, just pick one thing that you think I'm getting wrong. Make a Guy Williams Sucks video, which will, one, prove that you're a real person, and if we can see you, then maybe you won't look as Jewy as I think you will. But just one time, make a Guy Williams Sucks video where you talk directly to the camera, just like I'm doing, and you debunk something that I've said, something that I've talked about. You provide a few examples, you explain yourself, maybe 10 minutes or so. And then you let me know you made it, and I'll pull it up on YouTube. And we can all watch that a real life person who's not Israeli, who's not friar, is debunking something I'm saying. Guy Williams sucks. And I know there's some of you that are like, ooh, you just want to go viral. But if you think you can make viral videos and you're not doing it, you're a stupid ass. You should be making viral videos and getting rich. But if you're really that concerned, then just delete the video after I watch it. Then you don't have to worry about it going viral. But just make a simple video debunking anything. Proving you're a real person and debunking anything I'm saying. Been saying this shit for years. Years now. And the only one that's taken me up on the challenge is a group that calls themselves the Jew Crew. They prove how inbred stupid they are that they can't even follow simple direction. Because there is nobody actually talking to the camera, telling, doing the thing. What it is little 5-second clips of me saying one thing or another, made from different live feeds I've done, whether it was on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. All of these different videos, they have them all saved, and they have these little bits timestamped so that they could pull them and add them to a compilation video of, things that Guy Williams said that hurt my feelings. Literally, if it's 5 seconds. But it's you can see the difference. Some are Instagram, some are YouTube, some are Facebook. And then in between these clips is flat out Israeli propaganda. Pro-Israel videos. Now, there's not a single person on this planet. I couldn't even do it for myself, where I could put together a compilation video of little clips of me saying certain things, because I have them time-stamped and logged away. Old videos on any other platform, like, I'd have to scroll through and try to find them. I don't have any of those old videos saved. This was the time I said this, and then it's at this timestamp. No idea. I don't have that for anybody. I couldn't do that for anybody. Instead of making a quick 5-10 minute video where you do, the talking and you explain something, whatever they did, that took a long time to make. It took especially a long time to make if they don't have any timestamps or anything. They just went through and rewatched all of my videos until they could find these little timestamps. That would make even less sense. Right? And it just shows you how unbelievably stupid they have to be. Thanks, Snuggie. Like, share, and sub. Listen to Snuggie. He knows what he's talking about. I mean, it really is shocking that it can be so obvious. Here, let's look up Guy Williams sucks. Where is it? The Jew Crew with its 24 subscribers. Here you go. Guy Williams sucks. You're not bots. I've been saying this for over a year. All of you are welcome to prove you're not bots. I've been saying this for over a year. All you have to do is make a video called Guy Williams Sucks. You're going to make one tonight. Let's see it. I can't wait. I bet this is another one of these empty promises. And I'll show it on the live. Keep your kids safe. Can you imagine how much effort it takes to make this shit? Clips from all these different fucking movies and all this shit. If you're a pedo, do one good thing in your life. Make the world a better place and kill yourself. Oh no, don't say that. Guy Williams, after taking his own advice. And now we have the Jewish propaganda. Now this is one where they're citing this report. Bay City, Michigan. A Bay City man, which is like a couple hours away, is facing up to life in prison for his alleged habit of publicly exposing his privates. The first two incidents, allegedly involving Christopher A., or Guy Williams, 31, occurred about 4:45 a.m. on March 28th. I'm significantly older than 31. Definitely not Christopher A. But this is how desperate they are, right? Can you imagine making this kind of video for anybody else? Don't you think this is an amazing amount of fandom being shown here? Yeah. Oh, let's see. What the fuck? We got him, nigga. Why would chicks fake orgasms? It's saying, who says stuff like this? Who says stuff like this? Who says, I can't imagine faking an orgasm? Who fakes orgasms? Why do women fake orgasms? That's weird. And now it says, here's why little Pee-Pee Williams. That's what these dumb things say. So not only do they have these clips, and keep in mind, some of these clips are from Facebook, some are from YouTube, and there's even one or two that's from Instagram, and I don't do Instagram videos very often. So this is, it's pretty amazing. Super insecure about their dicks. Oh yeah.
Think that chicks fake orgasm.
I can't even imagine doing it. White guys are super insecure about their dicks. So they just, obviously, me pointing this out has them so upset about it that they timestamped it. But they're saying, I said, why do chicks fake orgasms? And the response is, here's why, little Pee-Pee Williams. Because white guys are insecure about their dicks. Like, you're not arguing with me. You understand that you're saying the same shit, right? Chicks fake orgasms because white dudes are insecure about their tiny dicks. Who made the video? The Jew crew. That's who. The random group that identifies themselves as the Jew crew that is so obsessed with me that they thought, like, this video is so much more telling than I ever could have imagined. Okay? This video acknowledges the obsession with me. That they clearly have all of my videos time-stamped and logged and saved and, you know, all the little things where I said something that hurt their widow feelings. And then, as if they want to really drive the point home, they splice in all of this Jewish propaganda, Jews dancing, you know, shots of Israel kind of shit. And it's like, who not only has my timestamps, my videos like that, but then you also happen to have a whole bunch of Israeli propaganda videos just ready and rearing to go, queued up. And because if you didn't have them, that would mean you'd had to go find them and then watch them and then figure out the exact timestamps and all that shit. So who has these videos at their disposal like that? So as soon as we do as soon as this part where it's, you know, why do chicks fake orgasms? Because white guys have tiny penises, or are insecure about their tiny penises part, it immediately jumps to this.
Better?
Watch. We'll just reset.
Can't even imagine doing it.
White guys are super insecure about their dicks.
Does it make Jews better? Makes the Jews different.
It's so strange.
They used paragliders to cross into Israel.
This is what he supports. That's what it says.
Of rocket.
They were flying paragliders right next to a barrage of rockets. That totally makes sense, doesn't it? Totally makes sense. This is what he supports. Go-karts. This is what he supports. Because they're flying in perfect formation and all that. This is the... So, for those that don't know, when the flying go-karts narrative started to sort of fall apart, people were like, yeah, that's a really dumb story. Hamas, you know, because they didn't want people to not believe Israel's bullshit, decided to put out the training video that they had made. They had made a training video of them using the flying go-karts, the paragliders, training on those things. They uploaded the training video because people were starting to question the narrative. What sort of strategy does that make? Or, like, what sense does that make? What strategy is that? If the people are questioning the narrative that your enemy is putting out, don't you, like, you know, don't you fan that fire? Instead, you're going to try to put, no, we actually did this. This is our training video. I don't even know what that shit was. Me talking about Ian Bernardo has them upset. The idea that somebody would have the one or two videos I've ever made talking about Ian Bernardo, that they would have that fucking shit queued up and ready to go and not give a shit about, you know? Like, who has that video? I couldn't even tell you what video that is. That is Instagram, though. If you look at the video, it's Instagram. So it happened to be one of the times where I was on Instagram and talking about their boy, their soldier, their IDF soldier, Ian Bernardo, or Bernardo or whatever the fuck his name is. Apparently that made them so upset they timestamped it. And this is me kicking my cat, apparently.
Cow! Doing, you stupid ass.
Yep, kicking my cat. Cat got outside. Used my foot to push him back in. That's me kicking my cat.
No, she was 18, 19. She's older than that. Let's see, I don't know the story.
All these weird things that just... Now we're showing a video where kids they just showed a video where kids just got killed by a car flipping over. Now this is supposedly footage of me, because I'm a monkey, sniffing my butt. Yeah. Now we have more Israeli footage. Okay, what else? She is in 6th grade. She's a little overweight, and so she has weird 6th grader boobs on this little bitty body. Yep. Guy's crib when Mossad catches him lacking, as they should. Now we're going to show bombing footage, but we're going to put the Alice in Chains on it. So now you can't do this. It says, "You're a pedophile guy. Respond to this video and I will confront you face to face. Prepare for war, guy. You fuck. Take out your wiener. You are wiener. You coward." Other than piece of shit friars, who does? And then they let the song play for the next 2 minutes. Yes, the music I make is better than Alice in Chains. I totally agree. I think our music is better than most music. It just depends on what you like. Like if you want dumb, nod your head yes to the worst shit possible, niggas, bitches, hoes, niggas, shoot, bitches, bitches. If that's what you want, then we're not for you. But I always think of it like if you have that I want to listen to Pink Floyd mentality, you should probably, you could throw us on. And the difference between us and everyone else is we don't make truth or music. Truth or music generally sucks. We make good music that happens to tell the truth. And so you're not only vibing and having a good experience, you're also learning and being inspired to think and explore and question and being encouraged and told that you're right. It's okay that you do these things. It's okay that you think these things. You're allowed to question this piece of shit cult. Most people just don't even realize, like, you're allowed to do it. But, please, somebody tell me how this works. Somebody tell me how any of this makes sense. This kind of shit makes any sense to anyone. Oh, is this is me responding?
It's supposed to be one of the videos.
This is how often they're watching.
This is all it is. This proves that I'm wrong, right? So let's go to here. Let's look up. Right? Talking to me. Me talking. Me talking. Me
And this is the other one, I think. This is the anti-guy at real life, or the anti-guy real life page. This is a different page. Oh no, that's the name. That's the anti-guy real life, but it's the Jew crew page.
The exact video, then pull the clip from it. Like, these are videos from...
Not this dips hit again. I'm a dips hit. I'm a dips hit.
Look at, there you go.
That's funny. I mean, who would do this? How many of you would absolutely would do this?
I goon to Total Drama Island.
Yeah.
I goon to Total Drama Island. I don't know what Total Drama Island is, but he just said it was porn for his people. Immuna is not alone. More than digging his own grave. Total Drama Island is porn for our culture.
And then to think about the fact that they're like all the editing and effort and energy that goes into somebody that's wrong, right? I'm wrong about this. This has 17 comments and they're all Jews. Oh, look, Iowa Cop Watch is commenting on this too. Go figure. Iowa Cop Watch is a weird-ass, methed-out pedophile.
Ew! Ew! Oh, my Talmud, I'm stroking it fast and hard. Total Drama is making me feel like a beast. I'm gooning fast.
Like, to think that, like, these guys go, oh, that's funny. Let's say pedophile shit and then be exposed as pedophiles because that's funny. Who does it? You know, I would, you know, I've asked for this Guy Williams Sucks video over and over again. Nobody seems to want to do it. Nobody seems to take me up on this. Oh, you can no longer search by upload date. So they took out the one way that I could 100% prove that I brought Brian Mullen out of hiding. They took away that feature. Why did they take away the update or the upload date feature from the YouTube search filters?
No idea.
Doesn't that seem convenient? Now you can only look it up by relevance and popularity. It used to say upload date. Now the upload date section says anytime, today, this week, this month, this year. Again, don't you think that's strange?
Well, it's probably so you can't continuously look up videos about specific things.
No, this is, I mean, yeah, but this was 100% proof. This was an undeniable way to prove that I brought Brian Mullen out of hiding.
What? Netanyahu is dead?
No. They've been saying that for days.
Iran killed David Bernier of head of Mossad. So David had a meeting with Netanyahu. So I am asking myself this question, or any person can ask. If David got murdered with ballistic missiles, so where is the Netanyahu? So the
I mean, but if you look at this like video, you look at the comments. Unfortunately, it says what and where is its physical proof? Unfortunately, this one needs to be confirmed by independent international sources. Until confirmed, I won't spend any money for the big party. Propaganda. He's hiding deep in the bunker.
Netanyahu is
It's
wrong.
AI. Bonus. Right hand shows an extra finger. Like none of this is. Oh, you're terrible. And a lot of it's in a language I can't read, but.
Iran killed David.
Think about that shit. You are so lame. None of us care. This is the second day in a row this doofus has been here because he doesn't care. Like only them. They're the only ones that are that inbred and stupid on a consistent basis. Consistently so stupid that you're like, dude, you clearly do. You're here. Again, you're here. Obviously, I matter a lot. I like to come see how pathetic you are. Oh yeah, right. That makes sense then. So, out of all of the feeds in the world, the guy who thinks we should kill pedos and overthrow you piece of shit friars, that's pathetic. Yeah. Out of all the things you could be doing in your own life, I want to come find you're pathetic. I'm going to come find you so I can fight against it. Like, really? Because you're such a good guy. This guy is a joker. Yep. Ironically, coming back to the live stream. LOL. Indirectly showing you care. Well, the bad part is, like, they don't care. Right? They're here on assignment. They are assigned this feed. They are directed to this feed in an effort to get points. Remember, act.il directed its users to missions to like, comment on, and share pro-Israel material. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Israel. Users were guided how to respond, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. The Act.il app would assign users missions to challenge social media posts it considered to be critical of Israel or in favor of the BDS movement. Think about it. It's literally what they're doing. They're trying to. I mean, I'm giving them the out. I'm giving them the chance, right? You know, at least if you're here because you're doing a job, that's one thing. To be like, no, I'm not paid to be here. I just come here every day and sit here for hours and watch you because I hate you so much because you think we should kill pedos and overthrow the Jews. Like, it's pretty fucking interesting how that works. These guys never talk about how we should kill pedos. Never. They don't even tell you why they're necessarily here. They're only here because I'm so entertaining. Because they just like talking shit to me so much. Makes so much sense, right? If you're going to be that type of bully personality, you want to go to the place where the guy kicks your ass and calls you a pedophile the whole time. You don't want to go to a Christy Moreno where she's going to get all upset. You're going to come here so I can make you look stupid and you can make me look better. That makes sense, guys. You make sense. My body needed to sleep. No need to fucking ever apologize. I don't know why I gotta keep saying this shit, man. There's no need for you to ever apologize. You're here. You're queer. We don't want any more bears. You're not queer. I'm just kidding. from The Simpsons. All you do is whine, boy. Yeah. Says the guy literally whining and crying in my feed, trying to get me to stop exposing the Jewish fuckery. Isn't that strange? The people with the fake profiles, the people with, joined 2 years ago, no subscribers. Right? Isn't that interesting? All you do is whine. It works. At the very least, I'm keeping you from fucking searching the web for more kids to fuck with. Right? If you can spend 2-3 hours on my dick, you're at least not out there trying to get kids. I guess these bots don't quit understanding the difference. Don't understand the difference between whining and teaching. No, they're just desperate. It's not desperate. This is the kind of stuff that if you say it to Jews, they get really upset. Right? If you say to Jews that you're just whining, no, I'm not whining. If you say, quit yapping, they're going to get really upset about it. They're trying to do the stuff to me that it works on them. And you'll see at some point they start going, no, you're a pedo, because me calling them a pedo, it works. It affects them. It bothers them. It's truthful. So when they try to do it back to me, it just doesn't work. And it's pretty silly, actually. But this is, the reality is, just think about this in any other circumstances, right? In any other situation, one guy is saying something about something, and instead of supporting that thing, there are people that come in and will talk shit about everything but address what that person's actually talking about. In what world is that how, this whole thing flies? Is that how debate works? Is that how understanding works? That's not how shit works. It's just mad he's bald. He's not real. That's not a real person. That's a fake fucking picture from somewhere. This is what they do. If it's not the act.il thing, it's the Team Jorge thing. And Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farms run social media campaigns, disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections. The group was exposed in February 2023 after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Israel and France as part of a consortium of investigative journalists. That consortium included journalists from France, Germany, Indonesia, Israel, Kenya, Spain, Tanzania, and the United States. The organization has been active on paper since at least 2015, just before Trump lost by 2.7 million votes, but the apex swamp said he was going to drain, put him in anyway. And most of them having manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide. Don't worry, whiteys. Many of them were in Africa, meaning 4 or more were in Africa. And in 27 cases with successful results. This one Israeli black ops organization, there are hundreds, maybe thousands of them, brags about having an 82.5% success rate when their one organization tries to manipulate a presidential election in the world. Imagine what happens when they have multiple agencies using this same tech to facilitate whatever they want. Whether it's making Ian Carroll a guy that everybody watches, or it's attacking someone like me. They can do whatever the fuck they want, right? And notice how nobody is going to, actually address this. If you're I'm an American truther, blah, 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 America for anything. The idea that you have concrete evidence of an Israeli operation specifically geared towards manipulating elections When you've been told Russia interfered in the 2016 election since it happened, yet never shown how, never given any examples, never, just told to think that way. When here you actually have a direct connection between act.il, Team Jorge, APAC. They literally put in a guy who lost by 2.7 million votes. Their activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv. Remember, they have 82.5% success rate. Carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal, T-A-L, Hanan, H-A-N-A-N, the group's leader and former Israeli Special Forces operatives. He said that Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. Their services have been available to government intelligence agencies, political campaigns, and private companies that wish to covertly manipulate public opinion. It's a Wikipedia page. It's so well known that Israel is doing this. There's a Wikipedia page. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of it says, but the consortium of journalists, the nerds, said you can't call it bots. They're more like avatars. Because Friars Rape Children 123 has a profile on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. They have these same program, the same character will exist on all the different platforms, will be connected to one seemingly source, and will be able to function as that source on all the different platforms. Avatars. They also said in the articles that they were capable of creating as many as 30,000 bots at any given time back in 2022. This wasn't like exposure and then dismantling of this organization. This was just them being exposed. 30,000 bots at any given time. You can find videos of Sucker Dick saying that he's proud that Facebook has eliminated 1,000 troll farm, bot farm profiles out of China, or 800 troll bot farm profiles out of Philippines. Not once has he mentioned eliminating troll bot farms out of Israel. Not once. Right? Think about any of this shit I'm providing you. Notice how nobody is actually going to address it. I'm only going to talk to humans. We have nothing to prove to bots. There you go. That's what this is telling you. If it's not bots, it's them. It's just Israelis. It's just Jews who are trying to get points so they can win some prizes. And especially considering act.il was reinstated about 4 weeks ago. And about 4 weeks ago, you can see a tremendous difference in my page, where suddenly we have characters coming out of the woodwork claiming to be rabbis, all this stupid shit. Me at 5 years old, still gonna ignore that I called you dummies. They're just fucking. I don't know why. I don't know why you get into it with them, right? I know, people get mad when I say don't talk, but what? Of course I'm going to. I'm the one that's here doing this shit. But for you to do it is you giving them points. That's how they get points. I don't know how the whole structure works, obviously. But I know it's documented that it exists. Points make prizes. Exactly, Karen. Welcome back. You're going to be kicked out in a minute. Don't worry. And you know that these aren't like regular, just, dumbass American Christians, whatever. Because what America first kind of dumbass, here's this concrete 100% evidence that Israel is doing these kinds of things, and combine it with the, so many other stories, the listening devices. If you remember back in 2016, shortly after Trump took office, some listening devices were found. 3 different listening devices were found in a triangular pattern around the White House so they could intercept ingoing and outgoing calls from any spot in the White House. And when they were finally they were found, and then when it was like, oh shit, these actually have Israel. All these are Israeli listening devices. Everybody was like, oh shit, shh, and the story just disappeared. I know it's not worth it, Snuggie. They actually won't register what you say. I get pulled into. They are master rage baiters because they are so ignorant and arrogant. Yeah, it's really, really hard with that exact formula, right? Ignorance and arrogance. Like, how could you possibly be so confident and proud to be such a dumbass, such an awful human being? And it's that magical little, those ingredients, combined, make this intoxicating drink that people can't help but get pulled into. It's only rage baiting if you let it. Right. Nobody should be able to rage bait you into anything. If somebody's words get you mad, well, then that's something to do with you. I hear Netanyahu shit. Oh, oh my gosh, she's so ugly. She is such an ugly little troll. Ugh. She's so gross. Ugh. Oh, here we go. The rabbi's back. We have another fake rabbi profile here again. Go figure. These fake rabbis, on a day when they're supposed to be, not doing shit. They're not even supposed to be using their phones and computers and shit. This is the Sabbath. Saturday Sabbath. They come here and cry about what I'm doing. Isn't that interesting? Bro, you have 6 people, right? Because if I had hundreds or thousands of people, then I would be censored. But when I have 8 viewers and 11 likes with 2,500 plus subscribers, I'm just crazy. Back when I had like 500 or 1,000 subscribers and I was able to get 20, 30, 40,000 views, well, that's just nothing. Nothing to see here. And that was back, before I was as right as I am today, which is something that changes every single day. Every single day, I'm more right than I was yesterday. Every single day, more shit comes out that if you actually pay attention and you're not a friar piece of shit, you're going to be like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? You care about the truth. Of course, you defend truth and the disgusting nature of pedophiles. Well, you didn't word that right, but I get you. Look at this shit. Look at the weird ass comments that they keep coming through with. Right? It's like you know the difference. You can see the difference between the Matts and the Karens, the people you know are real people, compared to the bots that can't even, respond to something properly. But at the same time, you'll see them talk about something from the video, something in the background, or something I say that's sort of off topic or whatever. They're clearly paying attention. But every single comment that I make about them being pedophiles, the friars being disgusting and wrong and bad guys and all this other, they have nothing to say. Why is that? If I'm wrong, you should be able to just really do a number on me. Just make me look stupid by showing how You know, I'm wrong about metzitzia. I'm wrong about the Talmud. I'm wrong about the soul correction. I'm wrong about the bottom of darkness shit. Make some tea and work on some music. Good. Keep working, man. He's mad. Look at how they want to affect me. Obviously, I'm affecting them since they have to keep fantasizing about affecting me. Obviously, I'm making them mad, so they have to be like, look, we're making him mad too. And then to pretend like being mad because these friar pedophiles keep being allowed to rape children and get away. Like, who's not mad about that? Who isn't mad about that? They can't spell either. It's friars. Exactly. They know the word. They know exactly what I'm saying. My name is Karen. Oh, that really hurt. It should, Karen. It should. Because this is elementary school. Right? We're at recess and we're on the playground and saying stupid shit like that. That should really get you going. If I smoked all the crack, ate all the meth, shot all of the heroin, drank all the alcohol, hit my wife, beat my children, kicked my dog, would that take anything away from Israel's genocidal and pedophile nature? Seriously? You understand how stupid you have to be continuously trying to avoid, like, the elephants in the room? It's not even an elephant, it's a bunch of them. Oh, they don't know what friars are. They're asking questions. Everybody isn't trolling. Yes, but once you see what's happening on the feed, you should understand why people would be skeptical. You shouldn't get upset with people for being skeptical. You should say, I totally get why you're skeptical, but I'm not one of these friar pieces of shit. You could just look it up. F-R-E-I-E-R. Look it up. I'm losing my mind. Yep, losing my mind. Bro hates life. Yes, that's why I find pages where people are talking about how to fix things, eliminate the worst elements in our society, and try to troll them. Right? Oh wait, no, that's you. My bad. Like, how could you possibly? I mean, it's just again. I don't even ask the question anymore. To me, it's just so obvious. I'm hoping that there are other people on here that might be new and maybe not quite understanding what's going on, because you've never seen anything like this. You've been, you've seen endless truther feeds, endless, and none of them are anything like this. And at the same time, none of them say what I say. All the truthers that are allowed to have big successful pages where they have their microphones and they have their studio set up and they have their other people on the, all those people that make a good living doing something similar, they all read from the same script. They all they tell you to believe in Jesus. They somehow stop being a truther when it comes to Christianity. And they tell you not to blame Judaism as a whole. Don't blame the cult. Blame the little offshoot bullshit that they tell you to blame. Blame Zionism. Blame Israel. Blame bullshit, right? Look over here. No, look over there. I don't even know what it is. Why would I want to look up something I never knew about? Well, if you don't know what it is, and you're asking about what it means, you might want to look up. Maybe. Or are you some Gen X or Gen Z or Gen whatever that believes that everything should just be provided to you? You just have to sit there and whine, and then people will give it to you. If you don't know about something and aren't aware of it, you certainly don't look it up. What? I guess that could be said like 15 minutes ago, maybe. But now that you know about something existing and you're questioning it, you have the ability to now look it up, correct? Look at this shit. Again, I look like the EBT king. I don't have a goddamn goofy hat on and a penguin suit. I don't live in Lakewood. I don't have 18 kids, of which I sell off $50 at a time. What kind of stupid, like, again, this is how stupid they are. There is nobody collectively on welfare receiving government aid and all that shit more than they do. They're the absolute kings of welfare. That's what the welfare system was initially set up for. You know, they have shit like the JFNA, the Jewish Federation of North America or whatever, raises $2 billion annually to distribute for welfare programs. Let's see. Just so we don't get it mixed up. Want to get the Jewish Federations of North America is an American Jewish umbrella organization for the Jewish Federations system, representing over 350 independent Jewish communities across North America that raise and distribute over $2 billion annually, including through planned giving and endowment programs to support local social welfare, social services, and educational needs. That is just one Jewish organization that does that. And that's not even like the official government welfare aspect of things. You know, in Lakewood, you hear the stories of, you know, first of all, you see that none of them actually work, that they believe that they should go to yeshiva all day, and then they come home, and if their wife has gone to mikvah and gotten her shit all cleansed, then they might have sex with her. Hopefully they can have a welfare that they can sell. But you don't see any of them actually doing anything. Tyler Oliveira did this really great documentary, although I question it to some degree. You know, it's either he hasn't evolved all the way yet or he's working for them. But, you know, and this video was just sort of a flex more than anything. But it was, yeah, but these bottom feeders, oh, they're the worst. They're the fucking worst. They're the worst. But you see that, like, you hear these stories that how they bought up all these neighborhoods, right? How they were able to take over Lakewood was by moving into neighborhoods and making it so unbearable to live next to them that when one of them came knocking on your door and said, hey, I'll give you $500,000 for this house that's worth $140,000, you'd be a fucking fool not to take it. Everybody that could take it, first of all, you get to get out of this toxic environment, this settler environment that's springing up around you. Secondly, you get 4 or 5 times what your house is worth. And so they were able to just buy up all of the houses and land and shit throughout places like Lakewood, Curious Joel. These towns exist all over the United States. You just don't hear about them. We have them here. Not Ferndale. What's the what's the Jewish town on the way to Ferndale, Chubby girl? Chubby! What's the Jewish town at 10 Mile in Huntington Woods? Right. Huntington Woods here in Michigan. It's all them. They walk around in their little penguin suits. They don't work. They don't contribute to society. They take. And so where did all of these people that don't work, that go to yeshiva all day, that have 5, 10, 15 kids, where did they get the extra $500,000 to offer somebody for their house? This is all sponsored. We actually gave it to them. You know that $3.8 billion that goes to Israel every year? Well, it gets funneled back here if need be. But they also have these JFNA programs that raise all this money. They have the Secure Community Network that literally connects 90% of American friars. And it's the liaison between the police and the people. Notice how the temple attack thing is really sort of disappearing quick, right? There was a slip up, and I highlighted it. Sheriff Mike Bouchard said he saw a video inside the temple. And the reality is, I mean, that temple was outfitted with as much security as anything could possibly have. For the guy to have even gotten through inside the building, how he got around all the barriers and shit like that prevent people from driving through, that's just something else. But, you know, we should be able to see it. There should be video of everything, of him driving up the driveway, of him smashing through the door, of him driving down the hallway, of whatever confrontation took place. That should all be on video. And Mike Bouchard said he saw a video. So where is the video? You know? It's actually kind of amazing when you look at the ridiculous, unprecedented response that happened. The sheer amount of police that were at something where no one was fucking hurt, where nothing happened. The amount of police that were there, the coverage, the hoopla surrounding it, only for it to, you know, just sort of disappear. Seems pretty strange, right? As his claim just chilling like a villain. Trying to intimidate a woman by telling her not to use her full name. I mean, you know, my wife found this really great video the other day. And actually, can I see your phone? What the fuck? Video's gone. You sent it to me. Did you remove it?
What video?
Of the woman talking about the wedding. It's
I
gone.
didn't send it to you.
Yeah, you did.
No, I just showed it to you.
I could have sworn you sent it to me.
No, I don't think so. No, I just showed it to you.
Huh. Well, it was a Hasidic woman who, again, like so they try to make it seem like the Hasidics are these like backwoods kind of hillbilly version of them, right? The most extreme, you know, the ultra orthodox version. But when you see this broad, she's, you know, she drives a car and shit. She's got makeup all over. She's had a nose job. Like, they're not nearly as bumpkin as you want to think they are. But she proceeds to tell us about, you know, the you know, what it's like at the Hasidic weddings, and no, you won't get kicked out, but make sure you, out of respect, you dress a certain way because you might get kicked out. You know, just all this crazy shit. But at one point, she's talking about how if it just happens to work out, that the woman starts her period and can't get to a mikvah in between, you know, starts her period, doesn't finish, doesn't go through the cycle, and then can't get to the mikvah by the time of her wedding day. Her husband to be, or her husband actually, her new husband, won't even touch her. They won't dance together. They definitely won't fool around. But he won't even physically touch her until she has gone to mikvah. You think that stops at some point? You think like once they get married, no. How many women do you think live under those kind of, you know, rules? Under that kind of oppression. For the week or whatever that you're menstruating, your husband won't touch you. You're not allowed to, like, hand him anything. If he says, give me a spoon, because he's not going to say, will you please give me a spoon? He's going to say, give me a spoon. You have to set the spoon on the table, and then he'll pick it up. You can't hand it directly to him because you're a dirty vagina broad. Nights of my retorts, you bots and psychos run along, you emotionally stunned runs. Don't tell them to go anywhere. They make the video. Do you know how much weaker my videos would be without all of this example of what I'm talking about? If these guys weren't so fucking inbred stupid, they'd realize, like, every comment that doesn't actually address what's being said addresses what's being said, right? By not commenting, by not admonishing, by not, you know, denouncing, they're saying plenty. They're just confirming everything I'm talking about. They're just, you know, they're just such fucking piece of shit cowards that it comes out the way it does. They're not gonna go, guy. You know my lingo. Right. You're so weird. Your slang is so different. I love it. It's great, but it's so different. Was that the female man just walking across the lawn like that? No. It's a white broad. I'm supposed to walk across the grass like that, female man. Oh, the World Wildlife Fund. Oh, that's always fun. Oh. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Good.
Good. I'll be down in a minute, kick your ass. Oh, you have work to do.
What do you mean?
You already know.
Can I do it later?
Nope. Work before we play. Sheets first. We'll actually do the bathroom first, so if you need help with the sheets. Okay, tough guy. That doesn't mean put the question into your phone and get the answer. The only way it works is if you show your work. Sure, indeed. Mm-hmm.
You could have put it back.
Anyway, I appreciate all of the interference. It just makes the feed. It's the proof. You know, if you think they're going to come through here and be like, yes, we're pedophiles who represent Israel and what you're saying scares us. It's not really how bad guys work. Especially not this bad guy. And they're always going to put it on something else. Don't look this way. Look there. Look over there. We're the innocent victims. We've never done anything wrong to anybody. All we've ever wanted is just a place to call our own. Is that so wrong? Why is it? Aren't we allowed to defend ourselves? But the people you're taking the land from, they're not allowed to defend themselves. They're not allowed a land of their own. Though they're proof and pudding's all right. Yeah. It's none of this shit is secret, right? I believe, like, if you were to talk to your, well, I don't know now. People my age, if you're going to talk to your grandparents, you better have, like, a crystal ball or some shit, because they're all dead. But if you have the opportunity to talk to people that were alive, or at least are related to people who were alive in the turn of the century and through all these events, talk to them. Ask them their questions. Like, I'd love to go to old folks. I need to start going to old folks' home and try to find the oldest people I can find. Just talking to them. Collecting their stories. Because they're the last of it. You know, my lunch break put out a video. I was going to watch it today live. Talking about how Iran is one of those places that's full of old world structures. And they're destroying it. Actually, really, I only watched like 2 minutes of it. It was really good, and you know, the thing about my lunch break is he's gonna do a great video, and he's gonna do a good job of making it seem like, yes, they're destroying the old world, and that's probably what they're doing in a partial way. The one thing he and nobody else is going to talk about is the pedophile cult that's doing it. People need to understand how significant metzitzia is. Right? Metzitzia is the thing that if you tell anyone else, and it's like a double thing, right? You can judge who your average pedo is while also, seeing whose allegiances are where. But if people know about metzitzia, and then have nothing to say about it. Like, there's a huge issue there. As you know, I lost my grandparents a couple of years ago, and the stories I've been blessed to be grown enough to care and inquire about have been hugely enlightening. You know, at the same time, you know, as I wish I had that, but what I did have was just as enlightening, you know. That when I came to my family and was like, "Hey, you guys ever hear about Operation Paperclip?" And the turmoil that came from me asking a simple question and then backing off. You know, when my grandmother answered me kind of like, "No, like, don't, what are you doing?" And I was like, Project Paperclip, the whole Nazi thing. And she was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I guess, yeah, okay, cool." And I just stopped. I just dropped it. And we actually had our day. We played rummy cubes that day, and and then I left. And I come to find out that my grandmother became more physically ill than any of the family members had ever seen her. What makes you that kind of ill? It's not like she got a cold all of a sudden. If it wasn't true, like, you ever been caught doing something you weren't supposed to do, and it's kind of bad, and you get that throw up feeling, like it physically sickens you, or it's just something really bad happens to you, and you get that throw up feeling. Your body's trying to reject it so bad. You want this out of you so bad that your body is heaving. For me to ask my grandmother about this and her to get physically ill over it, turn the whole family against me and all this other shit, like, I didn't even inquire. I didn't even push it. We actually had a good day afterward, at least as far as I knew. But for her to get so physically ill over it only points to one thing: the anticipation of a declaration. It only, all she would have had to say was, "Oh yeah, I heard about that." No, that's not us, and that's that. Like, there's literally nothing. If I had grandchildren and my grandchildren asked me about it, there's literally nothing that they could say that would make me be like, "Oh, you're not allowed to ask that question, especially about our family history." I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in inheritance over this. You want to talk about sacrificing for the truth? I didn't even know I was doing it. I thought I was asking pretty simple questions. I mean, shouldn't you inquire about your family history? Shouldn't you want to know? And especially if you find out something that might not be the most sunshine happy thing, shouldn't you ask and try to find the answer to that? Like, I don't understand. If I'm wrong, then there shouldn't be any sort of upset. What are you upset about? I was wrong. I mean, and how is somebody supposed to know what they're not supposed to ask a question about if they don't ask the question about it? It's not like I got some rule book handed down from family member to family member. Oh, everything's cool, just don't ask this one question. As much as I sort of believed it from the information I was given, there's a part of me that doesn't want to believe it. but it you know, I have my grandpa's name on my back. Like my grandfather to me was one of the most amazing men to ever live. He has patents all in his name, you know. Whether or not, like, to me, it just, I couldn't care less what side of the situation that you were in as a kid. Like something that Americans fail to do is to understand that as much as you're like, American, I'm America, yay. Every other place, the people are the same way, if not more. You know, go look at the ravenous soccer fans and shit, football fans. Their insane loyalty to the fact their parents and grandparents and grandparents and grandparents all had sex in the same town. That's weird. But this shit's all, it's all just manufactured. And to me, like, again, when I think about my family history, I'm fascinated by it. And if my grandfather was, you know, an Operation Paperclip guy, he was doing what he had to do to live. He was doing what he thought was right. Like, you know, no 18-year-old is like, no, this is wrong and I'm going to lead the revolution in the other way. And no, they thought that they were doing the right thing because they had been brainwashed into it their whole lives, kind of like the friars. You know, when you grow up in an environment where everybody is either raping children, torturing children, or quiet about it, well, you think that's normal. Where everybody's partaking in soul correction, where everybody's not just quiet about it, defending it. Somebody says, hey, don't suck on that baby's penis, and they're like, nah, fuck you. And they spit on people. You ever seen the videos where the friars walk through towns and they just spit on Christians as they're, you know, it usually only happens to women. It happens to do, but it happens more to women than anything, where they walk by and they just spit on them. And when asked about it, when it was brought up, they were like, well, what, you know, how can we curb these crazy behaviors like the Christians, or like the friars spitting on Christians? I think it was Netanyahu, but it might have been Ben-Gvir, one of those guys. But I think it was Netanyahu who was like, well, you know, Jews have been spitting on Christians for thousands of years. So, you know, you're getting reported for sure for talking about babies like that. How am I talking about babies? Are you talking about the ritual that's done to babies? Because, you know, that sort of narrative where, like, I'm going to tell on you for telling, it's exactly the point. Who hears that and goes, stop talking about it, instead of, how do we stop that thing? That's the huge difference between the Goyim and the friar. Right? The friar just wants you to stop talking about it. The Goyim wants to do something about it. They want to stop the fucking thing. But so many of them are so fucking programmed and really stupid. I mean, again, if you believe in God, you believe in Jewish Jesus, you believe in the Jewish Bible, you believe in any of that bullshit. Tasha's car just got taken. Or LaToya's car just got taken. So yet again, we have some doofus here that just shows up and is like, hey, this guy's talking about we should kill pedos, overthrow the Jews, he's a bad guy. Who does that? You're taking over this whole chat, and I'd better do something about it. Why? I appreciate you being here. The more of you dumb pedos that come through here and fall into my traps, the better it is. Especially considering, the longer you're here, the less time you're out searching for kids, doing something else. So I'm okay with you being here. I just showed up. Isn't that why you went live and being able to show up? Didn't sound like you appreciated one of my other comments. I know I appreciate every dumb thing you have to say. Every comment you say that doesn't actually engage and talk about what I'm talking about says a lot more than you think. But hey, come on, Takeover. Should we call you Tiafimo? Come on, Tiafimo. Let's see what you have to say here. Pedophiles can multitask. Yeah, you'd think. But they are pretty stupid, especially if you throw in the friar aspect of it. Right? You make it, it's a friar and it's a pedo. Multitasking probably gets a lot more difficult. This guy streaming and walking around. This guy is streaming and walking around. Good job, buddy. Good job. So you're commenting that you can see and hear the video. You obviously know what's going on here. You're obviously hearing me call you a pedo, and you're saying nothing about that. But you are going to say, this guy is streaming and walking around. Thanks, dude. While I hit the bong, yep, there you go. Yet another one of these bots, 14 years, 1 subscriber, calling an obvious bull a bong because their program just can't seem to differentiate between a bong and a bull, so they call them all bongs. It's weird. It's just more fucking friar bullshit, man. I want you some bum in a motel walking around hoping desperately that this stream goes viral so we can get $80. So we can get $80. Yeah, that makes sense. No, that does. It makes sense. I'm in this motel in the middle of this neighborhood. Yeah. So, yet again, I've actually called out the fact that I called him a pedophile. And there's still no response to it. He's going to make up fantasies about being in motels and shit. And now he's going to blame the computer. Now it's the computer's fault that he's too dumb to get his comments correct. Even if it's the computer messing up what you said, aren't you responsible for reading it and making sure it says what you want it to say? Voice to chat, man. My bad. Doesn't make sense. A grown man walking around in a motel at your age with no job and no income. Sounds pretty friar to me. What else doesn't make sense? So you're saying you being a pedophile friar, that part doesn't make sense as well as what I'm doing? Yep, the ceiling looks like it's 6 feet tall. Because you can see how tall the ceiling is from this angle. And how tall the ceiling is way more important. How tall the ceiling in the motel in the middle of the neighborhood. How tall that ceiling is way more important than the friar control scheme, all the pedophilia, all of that other stuff. Yeah, dude, you're making tons of sense. It's a good thing you took over the feed. It's a good thing you took over the feed. Hey, you're the one living in a fantasy world, not a motel thinking you're fooling anybody. Again, gotta love these motels in the middle neighborhoods.
Oh, sorry, Z.
Oh, meds, yeah. We got a meds comment, yeah. Yeah. Patricia's running the stream. This is your channel. Yeah, every single comment Patty makes reminds you that he hasn't once denied being a pedophile. Hasn't once denied being one of these fucking piece of shit friars. Hasn't once denied genocide. None of that shit. He's just talking about fucking, I guess he's like a motel guy. So he's just going to keep talking about motels because, you know, this is what they do. He's taking over the chat. Maybe take the 50 or 60 pills you need daily on a daily basis and then get back on live and see if you're in a better mood. 50 to 60 pills I need daily now. It's amazing. Confirmation, if anything. It always is. They, like, again, they're too dumb to realize they're only here because I'm God and I allow them to be here. If they were really doing something that was so detrimental to the feed, don't you think I'd just get rid of them? I love this arrogance, man. I love this friar arrogance. You know this guy's like 5 feet tall. He's fucking inbred as shit. He's got a big, giant fucking schnoz. Just ugly as like coal miner feet, right? He's just rough. And he's sitting here crying. What else can they do? There is no discourse. There is no opposition to what's being said. It's just the same old bullshit. Get your babble. Yep, there we go. More confirmation. They're so dumb, they know it's confirmation. And again, they go, well, look, we were able to keep this shit on the down, keep this shit down. We're able to censor the shit out of this feed. It'll always be this way. Blah, 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 blah. Look at all this shit. Anything you can come up with to try to avoid the fact that you've been outed as a pedo. You support the pedophile people, the pedophile cult. And we're exposing you. Like, it's amazing. That arrogance to think that what they're doing is working, right? It's fantastic. And I like I said, I appreciate the shit out of it because if I try to tell people about this, they're not going to believe me. Nobody else gets this. Nobody else sees anything like this. You're not going to see this on Ian Carroll shit. You're not going to see this on Stu Peters shit. You're not going to see it. You're going to see support. This is so fucking unique and it's fantastic. Oh, yeah, delusion. Yeah, more delusion. There we go. Just more delusions. Let's gotta bring up the auto emancipation pamphlet. Auto emancipation is a pamphlet written in German anonymously by Russian, Polish, Jewish doctor. He was a lawyer, but he wasn't allowed to practice law, so he decided to become a doctor instead. An activist, Leon Pinsker, in 1882. People talk about the Balfour Declaration and shit from 1916. Nothing. 1882. It is considered the founding document of modern Jewish nationalism, especially Zionism. Prior to this, it's called Proto-Zionism. Pinsker discusses the origins of anti-Semitism and argued for friar self-rule and the development of a friar national consciousness. He wrote that friars would never become the social equals of Goyim until they had a state of their own. He called on friar leaders to convene and address the problem. In the pamphlet, he describes anti-friar attacks as a psychosis, a pathological disorder, and an irrational phobia. Ooh, mental issue, schizophrenic, delusional. Right? You can't actually argue against what I'm saying. You can't even get yourself to deny it or address it. Instead, it's just the same fucking crybaby shit. Yeah. I love how, again, it's like you have a window into my shit while I'm doing a video. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing while I'm doing the video, but you know the video ends. And so after the video, I'm probably not doing the video stuff the rest of the day. But when you can't actually address anything being said, this is the kind of crybaby shit you come up with, right? It's just insane. Not one of these fuckers goes, yeah, man, we need to unify. The Goyim need to unify and overthrow these piece of shit friars. They're pedophiles. They've been raping forever, from Hollywood to government. You know, it's all over. And they keep doing these wars from the Gulf War to now this bullshit. Same exact playbook. They're about to get exposed as being this huge pedophile network when we suddenly go to war and the people are supposed to become patriotic. The difference is this time the internet exists. So they can't just make it go away like they did with the Franklin story. With the Gary Caradori story. Right? But this is the exact same playbook. Except, you know, I mean, obviously there's some differences. But pedophile shit starts coming out. Pictures come out. Bunch of evidence is there. Goes all the way up to the president of the United States, George Bush at the time. And as soon as that shit really gets up to George Bush, it just immediately, you know, it has to go away. Gary Caradoni's plane dies. Caradori, I guess. Plane crashes suddenly. Falls apart midair. Over a 3/4 of a mile distance, the debris fell. There was a boom. There was fire. Basically, it got hit by a missile, but well, that's not what they say. The investigation came back inconclusive. And the briefcase carrying all the picture evidence that he had just collected, that all disappeared. 2 weeks later, the committee he was working for, not all upset about what happened to their colleague. Nope, they just all voted, hey, everything that was being worked on, talked about, all that evidence, all that, doesn't matter. Case closed. You know, nothing there. Shut up, go back to sleep. This was at the end of July. People were like, no, fuck that. What are you talking about? This is huge. And they were like, oh yeah, Gulf War. August 3rd, Gulf War. Days later, you're not going to stop talking about this? Gulf War. Let's see here. I'm not here talking. What an idiot. You're still reading my old comments. Nobody's reading your old comments, dude. Halfway house. Now it's a halfway house, not a motel. Okay. Your mom called me. Really? Ooh, that's creepy. She asked to get you to keep it down a bit. She's tired of hearing your fat footsteps downstairs. So wait, it's my mom's house or it's a halfway house? My mom owns a halfway house. Not too shabby for a dead broad. Not too shabby. I'm not responsible for anything that goes on in the chat. Meh. Your hair looks fried. Oh, Patty, how do you like your dude's hair to look, Patty? You like dudes with short hair? Like you like a spiky look? You like the parted look? How do you like your dude's hair? I bet you like little curls to come down from right here, don't you? Short, all shaven, little tuft right here, and then some dreidel things coming down. You probably like that look the most, don't you? Look at the crybaby shit. Obviously, this dude's a pedophile. Obviously, this dude's a friar. They just can't help but show it. He's not gonna like acknowledge it because, well, what's he gonna say? He's definitely not I'm an American, I'm a crazy nut. What good old red-blooded Christian American is like, go ahead, rape those children. I don't mind. Steal all of our money and give it to those friars. I don't care. None of them. No, nobody. Nobody. The rest of your medicine. There we go. See what I mean? Take your meds. They just can't help it. They only have a small, they've only been prepared for a few different things. And since most of their weapons elicit a certain response from people, they're prepared to keep that conversation going. They don't get prepared for how this all works. They can't. It would basically be like, it's not going to work, so don't do it, if they were going to prepare for it. But this is, they're used to being able to shut people up with, oh, that's anti-Semitism, or any of the dumb shit this guy's trying to say. And when it doesn't work, it just short circuits things. You're supposed to respond this way. You're not supposed to turn it against me. You're not supposed to make me look bad. Stop it. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. You can actually, if you go back and you look, you can come out. It only took us how long to get to take your meds? What did he come up with? 4 or 5 things? Hey, idea is working. I've derailed your entire channel. How? You're feeding it. It went from one dumb fucking Israeli troll to the next. There's nobody on here that thinks, man, this guy keeps getting called a pedophile, but he doesn't say anything. He must not be a pedophile. Nobody thinks that way. Everybody sees you and goes, oh shit. Look at this piece of shit friar coward. Man, I can't believe Guy is consistently right about these pieces of shit. It's like they all read from the same script. They can't handle it. But hey, keep going, right? And it doesn't take long to identify that you have mental illness. Oh, here we go. Mental illness. Who does that sound like? He describes anti-friar attacks as psychosis, a pathological disorder, and an irrational phobia. Mental illness. I have mental illness because I think we should kill pedophiles and eliminate the cult that controls us while also being pedophiles. That is absolute mental illness right there. Especially when I can show you receipt after receipt after receipt proving the narrative. Yeah, it works out every time. apparat and a parrot in a pet shop has less repetition, you spelled that wrong, and more extensively vocabulary. Yes. You haven't denied that you lived with your mom once. What about the part where I said she was dead? Doesn't that sort of eliminate living with my mom? And how many different times have you fantasized about, your distraction and gotten it wrong at this point? This guy can fantasize about where I live, but doesn't deny being a pedophile. Right? Sounds like 4x2 to me, doesn't it? Doesn't it? I mean, like, you don't have any receipts. Yeah. I'm not even listening to you. No, you are. You wouldn't have said that if you weren't. You're clearly paying attention. You just can't. There's nothing you can say that's going to absolve you. And the fact that I allow you to be here, you don't understand what's happening. You don't understand your value because you're fucking stupid. That arrogant friar bullshit, it's such a backfire on you. And you just don't realize it. And it's, the day you guys realize the shit, learn to shut the fuck up and hide in the shadows you should be doing, that's the day that things get a little more difficult. But as of now, I can literally go live and say, all of you friars are pedos, and none of you come to the defense. It's really crazy. Right? Again, if anybody's living off government assistance, it's the friars with the 18 kids. Never worked a day in their life. Selling their children for $50 at a whop. Towns like Lakewood are literally Jewish welfare havens. It's the craziest shit, man. It's the craziest shit. You always see dumb white guys. They have a tiny penis. That tiny penis really does make for like a fucked up guy, man. It makes people fucked up. The majority of the people that are like the tolerant, ask any woman you know, right? Ask the women in your life. How many dudes have you been with that had a big giant honker and they were still racist, sexist, homophobic, all that shit? Or is it normally the guys with the most issues are the ones with the tiniest peckers? And 100% of the time, they're going to say, absolutely. There might be some, anomalies one way or another. But for the most part, it's these little dick white guys that just get, they just can't help but prove it. I mean, seriously, imagine being like, you have nothing else going on in your life. So you go, I'm going to find somebody that's talking about good shit. And I'm going to go, I'm going to take over the comments. I'm going to take over this channel. You can't actually go live and do anything for yourself. You can't create. You can't entertain. You can't do anything. You have to siphon off of somebody else's shit. Right? And for some reason, you 4x2 it, man. It's literally what they do. Exceptions to every rule, but yeah, I'm on to your train. Well, you're a female, you would know. What are you talking about? Don't tell him to stop. Everything he does proves my point. If I wanted him to stop, I would just block him. No, please don't stop. Please continue being the friar piece of shit that you guys always are. They never let me down on that regard. One of them that comes in here and is like, you know what, I've been listening for a long time and I couldn't help it. You were right. As Jews, we should be opposed to the rape and mutilation and all that of our children. So I've started an organization that is against metzitzia and against soul correction and all that shit. We're gonna do it. Like, that would be shocking. That would be the one thing that would really sort of take me back, like knock me off my feet. You got booted? No shit. What a surprise. It's not that at least I stand for something. I am righteous. I stand for the one thing that everyone should stand for. This is not a fucking, you know, a brag or like a put myself in some position over blah blah blah. The information speaks for itself. If you're talking about any other bullshit, that's on you, man. That's on you. And it shouldn't matter, right? If I'm wrong, I'm just some dumbass saying some shit. What would you get upset about it for? Am I supposed to think you're better than me? Would that make you feel better? Don't you think you're better than me? So if you think you're better than me, why shouldn't I think I'm better than you? Especially if you don't say shit. Especially if you're just like, no, I just keep my head down and my voice quiet because when I die, I want to go to heaven. And apparently, if you speak out against pedophilia, you don't get to go to heaven. Next week, it's harvest time. Took you 4 months. I mean, that's great. I'm not a fan of indoor, but it's definitely better than nothing. And there's nothing like your own. Your own's the best. I wish I could do my own, but you know, my situation's good enough to where I have good people I know and I know what I have. Especially with it being legal and shit now. It's no big deal. In Germany, it's legal since 2024. Oh, you're in Germany. You should check us out, man. Don't forget to get your TBG download, www.the-bilderberg, bilderberg-group.com. It'll be in the description after the fact, or if you need to go early, it'll be in a previous video, the description. But my guy, Charles, he's based out of Germany. Bierstadt, or whatever it's called. The Germany-Michigan connection. Our shit's international. Well, yeah, go check it out. Go get your free download. Matter of fact, I'm going to bounce. So I will put the description, in the description of this video, I will put the links. You know, first you get the website. Then you get the link to Hollywoodism, the greatest film ever made, the most important film ever made. You need to watch it to gain an understanding as to why you, the dumb Goyim, think the way you do. They lay it out for you. It's right fucking there. Right? You dumb Goyim. Right? And so you watch that, then you read the Israel Hayom article, Bottom of Darkness. That'll be the third link. That's the most important article ever written. And that article explains why they are the way they are, how they can benefit from genocide, how they can just rape children and not think anything of it, how they can be such awful, awful human beings. And unfortunately, it almost creates a sense of sympathy for them. Raped and tortured from it, as early as 3 years in one day, but maybe it's earlier, who knows. You know, they believe poking a child in the eye, poking a person in the eye. It's irritating, it's unpleasant, but it's no real damage done. Right? This is what they say, this is what they believe. It is the most important article ever generated. It is. It is. It absolutely is, because it explains it if you will let it. It took me 4 or 5 times reading it to really get the understanding of it. But this is, you know, they're forced into being, they're tricked and forced into being these vessels for sin transfer. The adults transfer their sins to get the redemption necessary. Once they transfer their sins onto these children, they are redeemed. It's one of many of their redemption rituals. But now these children carry these 10 fucking years at least of hundreds and hundreds of different men and women and who knows, all sorts of family members and rabbis and school, all these different people that partook in the ritual, transcending their sins onto this child in the most gruesome way possible. Gruesome ways possible. So now, when the child becomes an adult at 13 years old, they're now walking around this vessel just brimming with sin, just streaming out of them in every direction, until they can pass that sin onto a new child themselves. They then get redeemed. The cycle repeats, and they also put themselves in a position to where, what are they going to tell on themselves? No. And now, as they go out through life, and you say, how can you possibly bomb someone, or you know, your IDF comes in and literally removes the people from their houses, and then a bus comes through behind that, full of you guys, the doors open on the bus, you go running out, sort of trampling over each other, so you can claim the best house. And now you're in a house that smells like the people that were there, that has their food still in the cabinets and shit. You've just taken that house. You go, how can you do that? And they go, well, I mean, all that got happened was they were removed from their house. They weren't raped from 3 years old, 3 years in one day till they were 12 years in one day old. They weren't ritualistically raped and tortured. So what the fuck are they crying about? Just go get a new house. Oh, we bombed your place. Well, you're still alive, right? Just go move. No, it's not a free $3.8 billion a year. We pay for that. You know, do you know what we have to go through in order to get that free education, that free housing, that free money, that stipend each month? You know what we had to pay to get that? Were any of you raped systematically, culturally, you know, by your whole entire society from 3 years to 12 years? No? Okay, shut the fuck up. Yeah, it's traumatic and shit. Go fix it. You have all the life left. You'll be fine. You weren't raped. And that's how that works. That's how you have an entire population of psychopaths that are attacking everyone. Iran, you know that they attacked Lebanon? So while that Temple Detroit bullshit was happening and all the cops were there and Mike Bouchard said he saw a video, but nothing actually happened. The only person that died was the Lebanese guy whose father had been killed and daughter had been killed by Israelis. Apparently, he held a grudge and decided he was going to go do the most nothing attack ever to avenge them. Like, it's so stupid. And not just a nothing attack. You're now going to strengthen the Israeli regime because now they're going to get, billions more money, more tax dollars poured into the secure community network. The temple's going to get rebuilt on the taxpayer dime because there was a fire inside. You didn't cause any terror. You helped them out. Not one of them was negatively affected by this. If anything, they're only going to benefit from this. And supposedly this random fucking Lebanese guy just did that. While the same day, Israel kills hundreds of Lebanese people, dropping bombs on them, displacing 800,000 people from their homes. Same day. An hour after the fucking temple attack happened, the Israeli military, the Israeli government, whatever, drops all charges against the soldiers that were caught on tape raping that Palestinian man. Not just with their dicks, but with fucking batons, those extendo batons. They put it up to their butt and then push the button and it extends and just rips their shit. Broke his ribs, tore his insides all apart. Yeah, that Palestinian man. That then the soldiers were arrested. But the people, not all those poor, it's not all Israelis, it's not all Jews. The people from all around overwhelmingly came to the fucking the jail or wherever they were being held and beat on the walls and demanded, basically overrode it. They like terrorists, they overrode the facility housing these criminals, insisting on their release. So they were released. And then they went all around the Israeli media machine in their masks, being paraded as heroes for raping Palestinians. To the point where one of them got so bold he took off his mask and showed his ugly, disgusting face. And again was treated like a hero for raping a man. This is who this is. And an hour after the temple attack that had everyone distracted, Israel drops all charges against those soldiers. That's not going all over. That's not getting worldwide fucking attention. Only people talking about that are the alternative sources. Like me. Yeah, you might drop too early because there was still more to it. That temple attack, that fake bullshit fucking thing, it did way more than people think. It was a distraction. Like this is them multitasking. You know, dumbass earlier said they multitask. This is the ultimate multitask. Orchestrate a fake attack that damages the building, so now the building has to be repaired on the taxpayer dime. None of them get hurt. They can concoct some Lebanese bullshit story. They will now have millions or billions funneled into their organization because they need more security. They need more security at Jewish installations. It prevented anyone from seeing the story about the prisoners or the soldiers being acquitted. And it also hid from the Lebanese attacks, where Israel is basically an act of war, starting war with Lebanon that will now involve more American fucking soldiers. But I'm crazy, right? I'm the bad guy for talking about it because absolutely nothing I'm saying is false. Nothing. It's not hyperbole. It's not exaggeration. This is exactly what's going on. And you want to talk about my ceiling.
It's a nice looking ceiling.
Mm-mm. No, it's a bad ceiling. Or my hair. Or my beard. Or anything else. Building is going to be extended and built extravagantly. Yes. Yep, they were acquitted an hour after the temple attack began. An hour. Secret little story just sort of slipped out. Well, we were sitting there going, I've never seen so many police before. How the fuck do you have so many police? Where did they all even come from? You see police vehicles from 20, 30, 40 miles away. Even still, that doesn't account for the number of vehicles, command centers, helicopters, everything, and nothing happened. The only thing that happened was the Israeli security officers who aren't police murdered a man. Murdered an unarmed man. And the videos are all being hidden because there should be security camera, HD, full on, as good as it gets, security footage of every aspect of that bullshit. You know how for 20 fucking years CSI has been showing you zoom in, enhance, and they always can find all the craziest shit. They can create 3D models through basically using all the different cameras, all the different people that were at the place, because at any given event there's enough people taking pictures or videos at any given time to be able to construct a 3D model of the event of any given time. This is back in 2010s, 12s, whatever. Rerun. Go look at old episodes of NCIS and shit from way back then. They're claiming they can do that. But nowadays, we don't get any fucking security footage. Why do you always walk? You sit down. Because I'm in a lot of pain. And sitting down hurts. Walking hurts. There's a price paid. But it also has to do with presentation. If you watch any fucking expert on giving like TED Talk anything like that, comedians, anything, standing still is the worst thing you can do. It's also why this is constant. I gotta run up there.
Huh?
Gotta run up there real quick.
Okay.
Oh, look, the dumbass who took over the feed is back. Alright, what is this? Okay, it's... Yeah, what is it, baby girl? Oh, God damn it. Yeah, I gotta go. You guys have yourselves a great day. You pedophiles, you kill yourself.